Bria! And welcome to Tinker Tailor's Solder Fry here on the mighty Loading Ready Live Video Entertainment Network. My name is Ian and I'm your host for this evening, as is usually the case. But joining me today is a fresh Hasaku-faced Alex Stacey.
What does Hasaku mean?
I think it just means like shining and bright.
I think I don't know that that necessarily describes me.
You're looking bright and shiny today.
Well, thank you.
And yeah. What are you up to today, Alex?
So I'm gonna be working on my topol, but wait, there's more.
What?
I have a show and tell
Ooh.
that I'm very stoked because nobody has any idea what this is.
No, you've mentioned that there is some sort of a show and tell.
There's a show and tell, and it's Japanese.
I think one of your mics is rubbing.
Is it?
Probably this.
Every time.
I'm going to try and
I bet you it's
I'm
mine.
going to jam it down here. And I'm going to pray for the day.
Because
every
it
time.
sure wasn't before,
It's
and
not
now
the
it
on a
was
hole
rubbing
from
again. So
Jacob.
here we go.
It's not from Jacob?
No.
Oh, okay, that's good. That's very good.
No, because we already saw that.
Yeah, and we can't have that.
Yeah.
We
So,
mostly saw that.
okay. In 1543,
Okay.
something happened that changed Japan forever.
1540.
1543.
Boy.
A Chinese junk was forced ashore in a storm
Mm.
in the port of a either a district or a city or a town named Tanegashima.
Mm. Oh, yes.
They have a spaceport there now. On board the junk were two Portuguese traders, and in the morning after the storm had blown over, they decided to do a demo for the lord of the area of their matchlock muskets.
Mm-hmm.
And he was super impressed by them. He was like, that's really cool. Can I buy those? And he did. And rushed them off to his swordsmiths. We're like, make more of these. And it took
Stop
them...
making them be less.
Stop making them be less. So they set to work on that, and this was the introduction of the gun to Japan, and it just it completely changed warfare, as you would expect, because
Yeah,
they
it's one of
proliferated. Noda Obunaga got them. It
Declared them delicious.
yeah, he was just like, these are tasty. So I got fascinated with these, of course, because they're a very different style than anything else you would expect. They have their own sort of Japanese flavor to them.
Yeah.
And I found a lot of photos of like the mechanisms and so forth. And I understand things the same way I make love. I need to get my hands into it
Okay, yeah.
and get inside them.
Wow.
Right?
Wow.
And also you the late.
So
Ah,
I've been busy learning a bunch of skills
Uh-huh.
because I made one.
Holy shit.
So
I'm going to let you finish before I
I'm
ask
gonna let
any
you finish.
questions.
So before we do anything, this is actually like
Yep, that's...
completely legitimate. And so because it's matchlock, we're still going to clear it.
Yes,
So,
because every gun is loaded.
The serpentine has no match in it. The pan is empty. And then we're going to just check and make sure that there's nothing.
Once again, I want to repeat, kids at
So-
home. Every gun is loaded until you're sure.
In Canada, antique replicas, like reproductions of matchlock, flintlock, wheel lock, but not percussion guns, are not regulated.
Interesting. And
So
cool.
if my research is correct, this is fine.
Okay.
So yeah, I found a bunch of drawings and sort of reverse engineered how this goes together, and I made one.
You sure as hell did.
This is walnut, brass, and steel. Feel the weight.
It looks heavy.
It is super front heavy.
Yep.
Don't muzzle sweep.
Anyone.
Yeah, the front sight isn't traditional, but like this was a really fun project because I had to do all kinds of stuff.
Looks amazing. And I see something that you posted earlier. It's a little...
So the way it works is it cocks like this.
Yep.
This is the pan where the priming charge goes,
Right.
and it's kept closed until you're ready to fire, and then you open it.
Oh, so it keeps it primed and.
Yeah, and then there's a piece of match cord, which I'll show you in a second, and then just
Knocks it down in.
away you go. So yeah, I did a lot of work on the periphery stuff. So I made some slow match.
Ooh.
I made something to put gunpowder in.
Wow.
And maybe the best thing of all, this little hammer that means so much to me. Isn't this the cutest?
It's adorable.
This might be my favorite part of this
What
project.
for?
I actually use it for disassembling it.
Oh,
So if-
yeah, because it's just all
if
held
you-
together with pins.
If I may, I can show you how this whole thing
Please.
goes together and comes apart. I can never choose where I'm going to start with this, because I could have taken a lot of shortcuts with how this is constructed, but I wanted to be as traditional as possible. Come on, you can do it. Come on.
So you mentioned that it's not illegal.
Nope.
Is it functional?
I haven't tested it yet. I have to go and proof the barrel remotely to make sure that it's going to be suitable. I overbuilt the hell out of it, so it should be fine, but you know, trust but verify.
Yeah,
So
yes.
I mean, it should be functional. I have not yet tested that.
What do you mean by overbuilt?
Overbuilt means that it's stronger than it needs to be. So the wall dimensions on the bore are like 1/4 inch. There we go.
So you didn't fold this barrel 1,000 times?
No, I just bought it.
And to be clear, this isn't a kit you assemble.
No, everything you see here has been made from scratch,
Wow.
based on drawings.
You grew that tree?
I did. If you want to make a gun from scratch, you must first invent the universe.
Oh my goodness. Yeah, you definitely...
Let's get that there.
That's a hell of a trigger mechanism too.
I had to. That was one of the harder parts, is because I had to figure out how that actually worked. Because I saw a couple of drawings, but they were very low resolution, and you know, it was one of those things where there was a lot of like what it looks like from the outside drawings, but not as many from the inside. So I had to find a bunch of them.
Well, of course, the mechanism is going to be the hard thing too.
And even the pictures that showed how the mechanism worked were a little bit vague. I wasn't quite certain. There was like low-res pictures of how they interface together in the like from sort of like learning books, where it's like a basic picture, but it's not like a schematic or anything. It's just like there's these pieces.
Well, that's because that's where all the secrets are, right?
Yeah, and boy, is there a secret to this. So that should be completely stripped.
Okay.
So yeah, I made everything.
Wow.
How about this?
I am so amazingly impressed to begin with.
Yeah, where the hell did I even start? I think I started with the lock plate because I wanted to understand this.
Yeah.
So I'll show you how this works. I already got a little bit of surface rust. Okay, how am I going to explain this? So the big thing about the lock plate is there's this little trigger bar here. And I don't know if you can see that. There we go. So this pivots,
Okay. Yeah. Yeah.
and you'll notice that there's a flat leaf spring that this can spring against, and this arm extends out, and you can just barely see against my skin.
Just the tiniest little.
See the little latch
Yeah.
there, and that latch interfaces with the serpentine, which is like a hammer. So that's held down, and so when that's pressed, it's able to fall.
Okay.
And that's sprung using this.
Spring.
I had to learn how to do spring tempering. Did you know one of the
I'm ashamed to stop you right there. The answer is no, but go on.
Did you know one of the simple ways of getting a spring temper is you harden the steel, and then you have to get it to a specific temperature where it will like stay springy.
Right, where basically you're adjusting the crystalline.
You immerse it in molten lead because lead melts at a specific temperature that just happens to be about right for a spring
Right.
temper. So you drop it in until the lead doesn't stick to it anymore, and then it's spring tempered.
Oh.
So that's cool. This is one of the most complicated pieces, and this required so much like welding and re-welding because there's like a little tab that fits into it. There's like a cutout here for this son of a bitch to interface with. There's a slot for a pin.
But I take it it's going to be, you would definitely, if you were to do this again,
Yeah.
it'd be a lot easier.
This piece as well. This is just like, this has been such a pain in the ass to get it to work properly. This is just the cover for the pan, which swings out, but it's 3 pieces. There's like the side plates and then this bent piece, and I could not get the solder to behave at all. So I have some things to learn. But yeah, so the way this works is that like, so it pivots, and the trigger bar interfaces with it like that, so that when it swings backwards, it presses on it.
Yeah, and then because it's
Bring
curved,
that
it just
latch.
gives it a bit of,
And figuring out how the hell that all went together took a while. So I did. And this has been a really, really fun project for the last, I don't even know, a couple months.
I was going to ask how long it took to...
On and off, I've been working on this for a while.
But a couple months is not a while in my books, especially for something, A, as many-parted as this, and B, a fucking gun.
This was the part that they had a big problem with it. And this is also not traditional, like the breech plug.
Threaded breech plug?
Yeah, this was threaded using modern tools, of course. But there was a threaded breech plug. It was a lot coarser, and the technology to do that sort of threading and drilling didn't exist when they got it, and they had to figure it out.
Sorry,
So
Bender, this is most definitely a smooth
this is
bore.
a smooth boy. We're going to... Hello!
Oh,
So yeah, this is just like an overbuilt pipe.
yeah, it's thick, but
So
at
yeah,
least you know it won't
the
explode.
well the way I'm going to do that is like I'm going to take this by itself somewhere far away from everybody, and intentionally overload it, like about twice the service load, maybe 4 times, and set it off by a remote. And take measurements before and after. And if the material hasn't moved,
You're good.
we're okay.
Okay.
Also, this like dovetail sight is not traditional, but I was really proud of it.
I mean, why not, right?
I don't know if you can,
Get a shot of that if we can. On the close
right here.
You know, it's not like you're going for accuracy in this build, given your choice of materials and whatnot. So yeah,
Lots of filing.
you can give it some.
There are numerous questions coming through in chat. If you're interested in addressing a few of them while we get set up.
Absolutely. Ian, how about you relate them to me while I reassemble this?
Let's see what I can pull out of here.
I have one right now.
Yeah, what's that?
Please, Matt.
Is there a reason why you picked that specific wood?
So I'll relate
Walnut?
that just in case the.
Because walnut is really good for gun stocks. I'm not positive why. I think it just has attributes that make it desirable.
What's
I think
good?
like
Hardwood.
it's a good hardwood. It works nice. I think there might be something about how it grips.
Master Gunner asks, are you going to have it blued or parkerized?
It's already been blued.
Okay, there's the answer.
It's been blued very badly, but it has been blued, which is a chemical process whereby you change the color of the steel by like intentionally rusting it carefully.
in a certain way.
Yeah. So there's a lot of ways to do that. Parkerizing would be, that's like a phosphate finish, more like Second World War guns have a lot of parkerizing on them. I put this in without putting the breech plug in.
I was going to also, Ferrobender asks what
Yep.
what the bore of this is.
50 caliber.
50
Oh,
caliber.
actually, this is perfect because since I have to take this off, I can show you.
Like a desert eagle.
While you're talking about that, while you're getting that, Loki DMS would like to know what the symbol on the base is.
That is at, oh god, I've forgotten what it's called.
Yes. I was going to say,
Do you know this one?
It's just the OBS logo, right?
For fuck's sake.
It's a Mon, right?
Yeah, I think it's just the generic family symbol,
I think, yeah, it's...
which I put on there just like because I wanted to test etching it, because like this etching was done with ferric chloride, and I hand drew the logo. And I wanted to inlay that with like some enamel paint, but I didn't have any. Okay, so what caliber is this?
Is it... Oh my gosh, 3...
San Monme 50 caliber. So Monme is the Japanese caliber measurement. I think it might be a function of weight. It goes from like 1 Monme up to like huge. Like they had giant like fucking cannons that they would do. So I just like took a letter stamp and stamped that into the barrel. I don't know if this will even show up. It's very faint.
Yeah, we'll see if we can get it on there.
Give it a second.
Orion's Rise, the barrel is made out of a piece of pipe today.
It is, I believe it's hot rolled mild steel, so it's not like carbon steel. And I definitely want to address that because there's a lot of, I had to do a lot of looking into this because a lot of people swore by alloy steels or like 4130 or like a bunch of other ones. But other people insisted that more ductile regular steel was better because it will bulge before it
It'll
shatters.
absorb the, it's just kind of the same reason I used 88, or not 88, when I built my t-shirt canvas.
Yeah, so like the working pressure of black powder is about 2,300 or 23,000 psi at its maximum.
That's not too much.
No, it's a lot smaller. And like I said, I overbuilt it on purpose because a lot of the ones that I've seen. I also saw a video of somebody who was testing whether this type of pipe works, and he fired it, and it seemed to work okay. So
Yeah, you're overbuilding because you're concerned more with safety right now.
Yes.
And
Less
cost
of-
is less of an issue.
yeah, no, cost isn't a big issue. I think I'm going to drive this through the opposite direction,
We have
actually.
a couple questions here. There was a question about what sort of toolkit you used to build this, but also
I used all kinds of tools. There's welding involved. There's angle grinding. I don't know if there's some lathe work. Mostly
threading.
hand tools. Yeah. Well, no, threading was done by hand,
oh wow,
and it was really hard.
yeah,
Because I think I may have cut it a little bit too big, and so I had to like compensate for that with elbow grease, which was pretty hella. All right, this goes on first.
couple questions here. What's the full weight of this?
I haven't weighed it yet,
Okay, that's something
so
use an
we'll
exercise.
we'll
to be
find that
honest.
out.
And Corvus would like to ask, what went into the match cord?
The match cord is just cotton cord that's being treated with potassium nitrate.
Oh,
That's it. It's like really simple.
That is.
It's
'cause it just looks
soaked
like
in.
cord.
Like I'm not going to tell you exactly how to make it, but potassium nitrate was obtained. It's not that weird.
No, it's
And you make a solution out of it, and then you can treat the cord. And the point of it is, it smolders way longer,
ooh,
so it burns quite hot and very slowly. It's like the opposite of a fuse.
Does it smoke?
Yes.
Okay.
I'm not going to light it in here.
I
It
was going to-
smokes and it stinks.
I was going to say, could we cut off a tiny piece and actually
No.
light it? But no.
Not in here. You would hate it, and everybody else would hate it because, like I said, it smokes and it stinks.
We have an event in here tomorrow. Maybe not.
Yeah, they'll be like, "Why does it smell like sulfur piss?" in the moon base. And it's like, I don't know anything about that.
So you kind of treated that cord with cat pee.
Kind of. I think potassium nitrate was originally derived from urea.
I believe so, yeah.
Like urea and ashes or something. That's where they got the stuff originally. Oop, I'm missing something there.
The wrong pin there?
No, I just forgot to put the serpentine on.
Ah.
See, I'm like performing, so.
Now, you did mention mild steel? I think?
Okay, so mild steel is just basically like a generic term for not carbon steel.
Is there a spicy steel out there, is what I'm asking.
Yes.
Spicy steel.
It's radioactive.
Yes.
Oh, you rat, you gave me the spicy rock. Is everybody
the
else
old
watching
spicy rock.
HBO's Chernobyl right now?
No.
Getting traumatized? Holy shit, what a TV show.
Very good
It's so
programming.
good.
You were choosing to watch it.
Yeah, it's pretty hella. It comes with my strongest recommendation. So that should be everything together. So, I can show you. We're not going to light it, of course, but you would have this around your left hand, and this hole is so that you can thread it through.
So it just doesn't get knocked out.
It just holds it more securely, and there's less guesswork involved.
Put the fire in the hole. Make the bang bang.
One more time for a different angle.
Wow.
Cool, huh?
Extremely cool.
Yeah, so that's been eating up my afternoons for the last while, and I hope to. There's a black powder collective up island a bit that I'm hoping to show this off at, and then I can
course
get
it's up island.
their blessing and hopefully their insight into making this and maybe some other ones.
So I'm sure everyone's going to ask the question, when are you taking commissions?
Hell no! Hell no! Are you kidding me? This was a pain in the ass.
So there was there's another comment.
Yep.
Asking where did you do all this work?
At our local makerspace.
Ah.
A lot of cities, including ours, have tool collectives where you can pay to have access to a workshop.
Usually fairly low fee for what you're getting access
Yeah,
to.
so $50 a month gets me access to metal shop, wood shop, assembly space, a variety of other things like 3D printers and so forth that I haven't learned.
I believe they had a forge there too. And
Yeah, so all very cool fabrication skills to learn.
I thought you made your own forge.
Well,
I built one that was small, and I brought it there.
Real Gamer Cow suggests $5,000 would be a fair price.
I don't want. Maybe I could use $5,000, but
All right, but for the remainder of today, you're going to be working on.
yeah, we're gonna jump way to the present in a different nation. And we're going to build.
So back in 1945, Albert Einstein washed up on the shores of Tanegashima with a couple atoms, and he gave a demonstration to the local daimyo.
He just went. It's like, oh, that's really cool. So he gave it to their swordsmiths, and they smashed a bunch of stuff together and got really, really sick. Ugh. Oh boy.
Let me smash.
Becky, let me smash.
Cobalt.
So yeah, this is to address my own questions, like why. It's fun being eccentric.
Yeah.
It was just like I wanted to build a thing, and so I did, and I learned a shit ton of skills, bumbling my ass through it.
Hella good skills.
Yeah, and it was just like lots of like metalworking skills and finishing skills, and just picking up all sorts of cool stuff. So it's
You can do anything.
even if I never make another one, I'll have that experience and those skills. So
It definitely seems like a much simpler style of device as well. So
yeah, it's like Matchlock. Okay, so Matchlock came just after like arquebuses and like handguns. Like the very first guns were like pipe, hole, and you would
Touch
hold
holes in
it
pipe.
and you would take a match and like light it, and need to have 3 hands because you're like aim, hold, fire, fire, hold, aim. And then they would put it on a piece of wood, and it was like, okay, this hold it better. Maybe put it on a parapet or something. Then they would they had some of them are really simple. It's just like a lever where you pull it and it goes. This one's like sprung, so it has
it's pretty
positive ignition. And then like going forward, there's a whole bunch of different innovations. Like flintlock is, of course, like you have flint and a hammer. It hits a frizzen that like opens the pan.
Yep.
Snap hands is similar. I don't know what the
some-
difference is. Wheel lock, which is wound up against a spring. And then finally percussion, where they're just like, hey, we have a little lead azide capsule that is hit with a hammer, and that goes real good.
And the small boom makes a bigger boom.
Small boom makes a bigger boom, and then on and on and on. And, you know, now people are 3D printing guns.
With caseless ammunition.
Really?
I don't think they're doing that yet, but I wouldn't be surprised if someone put together a press.
Where's the heat going to go? Sorry, anyway, that's getting way too into the weeds.
Well, out the front, I hope.
Yeah.
All right, so you're looking at on a
Where the
model,
hell was I?
and I am continuing with my putting together of my bag. And today we're going to be putting the front buckle.
I might need to make a leather bag for this thing, because the funny part about this rifle bag is that it's way too long.
You know, I was actually looking at today at the site where my other bag is made, Saddleback Leather, and they make a new pistol pouch, which is good thick leather filled with calf skin and fur or sheepskin. So it's just a beautiful place to put your guns and cradle them in warm softness.
That's a troubling phrase. Okay, so we're still on the version 1, I think.
So Corvus, this time I did decide to print off some pages,
C40.
so I don't have to keep looking at the chat for your suggestions. Right. So I'm not going to do it the wrong way, but I am going to do it the right way.
That is a really cool
Oh yeah.
printout.
These
Is that
are-
from
These are from books, which I can.
from the 50s or 60s at the latest?
And today.
I recognize this style.
It's very good illustration style.
This is the kind of stuff that would show up in like Popular Mechanics, where it's just like, hey, Billy, build yourself a cloud chamber at home. Don't tell mom.
First things first, we're going to look at what Saddleback's done and see if that's worth replicating in my part. And I think it is.
7.
When the buckles, where
See?
attached leather is required, tab will have to be cut longer than on page 8 for the loops.
Why does this only go up to 37? Oh no, wait, there's 38. What the frick?
So it suggests that Saddleback's design is considered, they're considering it poor design and a bad example. Or, poor construction and unprofessional in appearance.
What?
The idea of only having just rivets attached.
Oh,
But that's all they've done. They have not sewed this to the piece. So what do? What do indeed? I think I will.
40 and 39.
Let me see what I've done already on these side bits and see if it's worth replicating that way.
It's probably an aesthetic choice because of how light the payload is.
No, that's one of the. This is not a light payload point. This is in fact when you close up this bag, and if you're holding it by the handle, what's happening is that all of the stress is either distributed along this flat piece of leather here, which spreads it out nicely, or concentrates it directly here and here.
Yeah.
So it's not like it's a small weight. That's a very significant weight.
But I mean for your new bag.
For my new bag, it is going to be a much smaller weight. So I think what I'm going to do, because I am feeling saucy and I want to continue, is I think I'll match the style of what I did up here on this side. So I'll give it a sew, but I won't sew through. Instead, I'll double rivet but I will. I'll at least stitch the pieces together, which I think is what Saddleback did as well.
I keep thinking Saddleback, Lagac.
So we're gonna need to cut some leather strips, which means I'm gonna need.
Leatherwork
that's
is
one thing I didn't bring.
what?
The bags of leather bits
Uh-oh.
from the back.
I guess you have to go get it. Leatherwork is probably on my list of skills to acquire.
Yeah.
Because, like, my aesthetics include, like, steel, brass, maybe silver, leather, wood.
I think you'll find leather is a very good material to work with. It's well, it's not really forgiving. I mean, it's just easy to work with. I think is the best way of putting it.
Yeah.
Because it's soft.
Because it used to be alive.
Then we did things to it.
I
All right, well, this seems like a very good piece to use here because it's I can probably end up using this for the what do you call them there? The billet. This long piece, and this side here looks already set up for use to make the buckle attachment.
Is it billet or belay or what?
I would think billet.
it's billium.
Billiam.
All right. Yeah, Wardhosk points out when you make a mistake with leather, it tends to be permanent.
Yeah, it's weird. You can takesies backsies with wood. What you didn't see is what a hack job a lot of the joins were. Like there's 2 or 3 pieces that I had to like put like graft onto the stock to get it to be in shape.
No.
But you can always just like, well, not always, but a lot of the times you can just glue on some more stuff, sand it over, patch it. And weirdly, you wouldn't think this, but the same is true of metal.
Is it?
Because a MIG welder is basically a hot glue gun for steel. Not even kidding. It's kind of awesome.
I dig it.
But
You know what I forgot to bring with me? Was a metal ruler. But that's okay.
what'd you do that for, dude?
Yeah. Actually, if someone can grab me a metal ruler from the shop area, that would be lovely. Thank you. Oh, yes. Aslan 121 uploaded a video earlier which involved making prop armor from leather, which was quite a nice video.
Ooh.
One of the sites that I think it was on Hacker News, actually, in fact.
Yeah.
But there was a gentleman on the web
Come
who
on.
went through. Thank you, thing.
Like, that's weird.
They went through experimenting with all of the usual methods of hardening leather that you usually use for armor making and other things like using stearic acid or
I never thought about hardening leather.
implanting it with beeswax. Oh yeah, well because I've been in the SCA and you make leather armor,
Right,
which is then
yes.
hardened. He tried them all and did a proper scientific experiment testing these different methods to bends, to impact, to puncture ratings, and then decided, okay, well I've figured out all the traditional methods. Let's try putting methods together and seeing what works out well. And it turns out that a combination of stearic acid soaking and heat application at a specific temperature is what makes for the best hardened leather.
It's like heat treating or tempering almost.
Yeah, it's a lot like that.
But it's the kind of thing they wouldn't have been able to do accurately back then because they wouldn't have had
Well, but they would.
thermometers.
But they, you know what? A lot of that stuff they do it by sight.
Yeah.
That's why old Japanese blacksmiths would go blind.
Yes,
is because
theoretically.
they would judge whether the metal was right by the color. So they didn't have a thermometer, but they would get pretty accurate. Like that's how tamahagane is made, which is God damn it, son of a bitch.
Tamahagane.
Oh, tamahagane, which is the steel that's used for sword making.
Weeb. I'm not one to talk, but I don't often get to bust that out. So.
Yeah, that's fair. It's a process called tatara, where they make. Is it called a bloomery or just like a bloom? It's
A bloomery is a specific type of furnace.
okay. It's they make a kiln that's huge, and it has tweers, which are like little blowpipes in the side, and they pack it with charcoal, and for 3 solid days, they feed it a mixture of charcoal and iron sand, and all that stuff melts down to the bottom. The slag drips out through the bottom, and when you're at the end, you're left with a big, hideous mass of carbon steel called tamahagane. And they bust it apart and give the pieces to a swordsmith who then picks the best ones that he likes and pattern welds them together and then starts folding it a bunch of times.
Meladia, the Mini is actually, the progress is pretty done. Right now, it's on the road, it's driving. I'm taking it on a long road trip next week, actually, from here to Lethbridge.
You a Sunday driver?
Wednesday and Thursday. But,
Cam isn't here.
no Cam today.
Unless
It's
he's making fun of me.
Alex today.
Smartass.
All right, so let's have a look at this. Bend that through. How much space do I need?
There we go. Oh, let's get high as fuck.
So that's going to hold pretty well, I think. What we'll need to do then is we'll need to trim a space in the middle for the little tongue, I guess you could say, to poke through, and then decide how long we want this to be. And I don't think it needs to be that long, but. You know what, if we're going to do 2 rivets, maybe we should. Let's see how long the experts decided to use.
The unprofessional expert.
Yes, exactly. The unprofessional and... Okay, so it's about the same. They just rounded the end. So, you know what? I think I'm going to do the same thing. Because why not? But they did also produce a loop in there. So, we'll have to make a loop as well. That's easy. We'll do that with, not this piece. But where was that piece? Up here. Perfect. So we'll just chop an end off here. Anybody here watch Primitive Technology channel?
Oh, man. Such a good channel. Okay, so Primitive Technology, I love. I have found a similar energy style of YouTube videos in restoration videos.
Is that Me Mechanic or Mr. Mechanic or whatever his name is?
Maybe?
Though you posted that one of the micrometer.
Yeah, well, that was a good example because it's a guy from Switzerland who has an incredibly high level of competency and finish. So all his stuff is beautiful.
I thought you said he was from Sweden. Or Switzerland.
Then you said finish.
Yeah, he's got a high level of finish. Sorry, I'll see myself out.
But it represents an entire style of video on YouTube, which is like, you can sort of see it where it's like there's no narration, there's sometimes captions, there's no music, it's just like
Silent
like sort of
expertise.
almost first person kind of tinkering with stuff, and it's just like, it's so soothing because they just take this like well-loved chunk of rust, bust it apart, clean it up, make it beautiful again, and it's so cool. Love it. 57 times 2.
Here is a loop that I have constructed. Ian might have seen the MCM Mini mod. I'm not sure if I have or not.
D1C3.
Okay.
Are you going to finish the edges of that loop with stitching?
Yeah, I think I might do the stitching on them. Let me see what they did down here.
Because they finished all the edges on your bag.
Yeah, they
there with
sure
stitching.
did. But they finished all the edges on everything, but partially because they're double-sided. And I don't know if I'm going to be able to do that with this leather without scheming it severely. That said, hello. Hello, pieces. Alex, I saw something the other day as well that I think you would appreciate
Tell me.
quite a bit. It was a group of friends who were getting together because they're planning a group trip down to the Star Wars thing that's happening.
Celebration?
Yeah, well, not celebration. The new Star Wars land that's opening up in Anaheim.
Okay.
And they wanted to make some stuff for their cosplays.
Okay.
Specifically, they wanted to make data pads by making cases for their phones.
Ha!
And so they did that by buying a pile of model kits.
So they did it the correct way.
Yes, they kit bashed. And I thought, wow, that's something we could do.
Yeah?
Sit together, kit bash together some phone cases on the front and back and make some...
I think I have respect for that, because it's just like... I don't think I'm a Star Wars grognard. But like...
It's an aesthetic I like.
I'm going to very carefully say this. Star Wars means a very particular thing to me. And that thing I felt was best represented in the original trilogy.
Mm-hmm.
That's about all I'm going to say about it.
That's...
But like, I love sci-fi aesthetics that have been allowed to become shitty.
Mm-hmm.
In the sense it's like, well, I mean...
Patina.
Patina,
I guess.
I think the best way to indicate it is in the cantina when they come out and see the coolest starship you've ever seen in your life, and Luke is like, "What a piece of junk!"
Yep.
It's like, yes, this is so cool.
This is where I want to be.
Yeah. I don't think I should put these tires on yet. Maybe. Well, I'll just, you know what? I'll dry fit them, just so we can see them. 57.
You know what? I might not do the stitching on this. I think it kind of looks good the way it does. A small shot there. I think I like the clean edge of it. So I'm just going to stitch in the back here.
Careful with those edges, kid.
Stitch it together so that it.
Oh, that is really dry fit. Oh well. Fuck it.
Give it a small calibrated tap. Oops.
That's a nice mallet. Did you make it?
No. This one actually came with a Lewis bag in a
That's
in
super
a bartender's kit.
Oh, it's my favorite tag. Size difference. Oh. I'm so weird. DC4. Oh, that's what I thought.
So
Yeah. Okay.
Get some thread out here and a little bit of...
Get the thread out.
Going for orange?
I mean, orange is... No, I've been blacking this entire thing. Right. Whoops. No trip to the Bang Zone today. Ice Flight, the Bang Zone exists here.
What's the bang zone?
This is the Bang Zone. Here to here.
Okay.
Are those your new cutters, Alex? Are those your new cutters?
No, they're not. I was afraid to bring them. So, our lovely friend Kenoki sent me a pair of God hand cutters. And they're fucking unreal.
They'll cut the face of God.
So, traditional side cutters for plastic, even like the really good ones, are essentially pinching off the sprue. Like, you probably won't be able to see this because it's so small, but like these cut pretty well. But like on this side, there's a little sort of like squeeze mark or like a point.
It pinches it.
It pinches it.
Yeah.
God Hand doesn't do that. It's a pair of side cutters that, just like Zantetsuken's through the material, and you can cut like literal little coins off of the sprue.
It's like a die cut.
So clean.
It's like a yeah.
Because I think that it's actually like an anvil and a blade, and just
in tiny form.
So I think they're very valued among gunpla builders. I wonder if Geech has one. Because I'm sorry.
I think he mentioned them when we were first bringing them up.
Yeah, because gunpla are not meant to be painted, and so as such, your finish has to be really, really good because you can't cover any of that up with your painting. So if you have a pair of cutters that can cut really, really, really flush, that's going to make your model look better.
And that's it. All the top-level gunpla builders do end up painting their models anyway.
Yeah, Corvus has posted a picture that shows you.
Oh, thank you, Corvus. Yeah, that's,
This is a Zuron clipper, so they're pretty good. But Godhand is just like, you're like a little baby.
that previous one hit me right in the jugular.
I'm really sorry.
It's okay.
Oh, so funny story. Our local model shop, BC Shaver, is having a retirement sale. And I went down and was rooting through their various brass and styrene, just like bits. And Garnet, the guy who, like the owner there, is just like, let's deal. So I scored an astronomical value of just random bits for like shockingly, outrageously low prices. So I'm now committed to doing scratch building for the rest of my life.
You're fine with that.
Yeah, I was gonna say, is that so bad?
No, it's fine. Yeah, my next show and tell is going to be a scratch build.
I mean,
well, I mean, this one was.
That's going to make a.
It's going to be a smaller scratch build, not as heavy. Because I haven't quite finished it.
Lower bore?
What?
Lower bore?
Lower bore?
Smaller bore.
Smaller bore. Smaller caliber. I really wish I brought my sandpaper.
We still have those.
Or like the little sand sticks?
Yeah, we've got plenty of sand sticks.
Yes, please.
Thank you.
I don't want to continue on like a savage here. Goodbye.
I'm guessing Garnet was the one that is retiring?
Yes.
That is an old name. I haven't seen much. Like, very many people named Garnet.
Yeah, oops, sorry. Oh God. Thank you. The hope is that they're going to reopen under new management elsewhere. Because, yeah.
Hillside.
Is it for sure 100% happening?
I went in there to talk to the guys about, hey, show me your shavers and show me, like, because I want to pick up something for really cheap. And show me your foils and whatever else, and they didn't have anything.
Razor foils, by the way. Beach isn't suddenly searching for a deck these days.
Yeah, he played so much Puzzle Quest, he's joined us.
And dude was like, yeah, we don't have much left in terms of that here. We'll have more at the new location. I said, sorry. He's like, well, at Hillside.
Nice.
Oh, you're moving to Hillside? He's like, yeah, we're doing that.
Oh, thank goodness.
It's happening.
You walked in and went, show me your shavers and show me your BCs.
Yep.
And they had none.
So without giving away too much, Hillside is going to be closer to my house.
Don't be creepy.
Don't be creepy. I will find you.
That's the point. Don't find Alex so he doesn't have to find you.
Yeah. Let's see how passive voice I can be. I will engineer it so that you will wish that you had not.
Oh, subtweeting then.
It's like the
It's IRL subtweeting.
one of my favorite anime theme songs for the Laughing Salesman, which is just titled "Don't."
Isn't there a Neil Cicierega song titled "Don't"?
Oh,
as
I'm
well?
sure there is as well, but
Don't be a creeper. I was talking today about weird, like extreme parasocial relationships. Like there was that streamer who some very troubled youth decided that it was a good idea to sell all his belongings, move out, and show up at the guy's doorstep. Because, you know, he understood. And it was going to be cool for him to stay with him.
Oh, yes.
And the guy was like, who in the fuck are you?
And where did you come from?
Yeah.
Was it a male streamer? I remember
Yep.
reading something about a female streamer that had that happen.
Oh, I'm sure it happens, like, not all the time, but often enough.
More than one would like.
Those are the kind of stories that, like, horrify me. Although, the irony being that, like, whenever I have to set boundaries, I think that I sometimes come off as being a lot more hostile than I actually am. It's just because I have to put those fences up.
Yep.
And then it has the unfortunate knock-on effect of the people who I actually probably want to hear from are like, oh, I don't want to bother him. I was like, oh, but you have sufficient respect that I would actually like to hear what you have to say. Oh well. Can't win them all.
Well, I won this. It's a loop. You can put leather through it.
Hot.
I'm winning.
Oh, daddy.
All right, let's. You know what? Let's use the edge of this actual piece of brass to mark out our curve.
Just gonna go for a little beveled curve there.
Yeah, it's not quite free-handed, but
Just gotta make a nice little bevel there. Did you know brass has really weird metallurgical characteristics?
I did not.
So, it softens when you heat it,
Okay, well
which
that's
is maybe not that surprising.
that's pretty normal so far.
It hardens when you work it,
That
like when you beat the shit out of it.
I think I remember hearing something about that. That it just becomes more. The more you work it, the more brittle it becomes.
Yeah, the more hard and brittle it becomes.
I didn't know that was unusual. I thought that was, like, not all metals do that, but some do.
Yeah. So yeah, it contrasts with like steel, where you harden it by heat treating.
I mean, tempering it, right?
Well, the tempering is actually softening it.
Oh.
Yeah.
So like,
Tempering is a flexibility addition, right?
yeah, the way. Okay, so here's how you make a tool. Because like regular non-carbon steel is like pretty hard, but you could take a file to it and, you know, like eat it up. Most tools, like probably this, screwdrivers, drill bits, knives especially, are mostly made out of some form of carbon steel or tool steel.
Because it's cheap.
So you put it into the form that you want it, like make it look like a knife, and then you heat it up to what's called the critical temperature, which I don't know the exact numeral, but this is the weirdest part. You get it up to about a cherry red, and then it loses its magnetism.
Yes, I love that.
Yeah, you get the metal red, and then if you try to touch a magnet to it, it won't stick anymore.
I think I remember
Which
reading
is really
something
cool, and
about
that's how
too.
you know that it's at the right temperature. So once you get it there, you can quench it in oil. Some metals quench better in water, and that like locks the alignment of the, I want to say the atomic structure, and that hardens it. But it actually makes it too hard, like it's glass hard. So a file will skate off the surface because it can't bite into it because it's too hard. But if you dropped it on like a hard surface, it would shatter. So you need to back that off just a little bit. So that's where the tempering comes in, where you put it at a particular temperature for a while. So like in an oven or a kiln or something at like 300, 350, maybe 400, depending on what kind of Rockwell you want to get it to. And then that gives it enough malleability that it will last as a tool. So it's like a balance between how hard it is and how like tough it is.
The heat treatment there probably crystallized it in a way that it had a couple fracture points.
That's the thing about metal is that it's a crystalline.
You want to
structure.
make some martensite? I think it's called martensite.
martensite.
I don't actually know anything about crystalline structures.
All I know is that if you find a crystalline entity you want to be aware of, that it's going to cause you some problems, and your androids are probably going to go after it.
Yeah.
What I'm saying is don't have androids on your ship.
Yeah. So, speaking of which, finding out that you A, can, and B, will make your own tools is really, really sweet. Oh, see, like all this stuff is probably made out of hardened steel.
Oh, possibly? Hard to say, because some of it's meant to be hard, some of it's meant to be soft to allow it to be sharpened. But what I should do is actually bring in my the small knife that I had Jacob bring for me.
Knives are usually pretty hard because they need to be able to retain that edge. Like soft metals will sharpen easily, but then they'll dull really easily.
This one very specifically has a very soft steel.
Does it?
Not this, but the knife itself, because again, it's made to be sharpened easily rather than.
Man, I love Cheerios. I for real love Cheerios. They might be my favorite breakfast cereal.
Honey Nut or plain?
Plain.
It's too small.
Honey Nut were one of my favorites as a kid.
Honey Nut are ostentatious. Although, I'm kidding, but...
Does anybody remember they weren't Cheerios, but they were a pressed form of bran into an O shape that was flat on one side and round on the other, and kind of slightly hexagonal? I remember
What?
this
Crispix?
past weekend. No, they weren't Crispix.
Crispix is real good.
No, these were even brown, like darker brown, and they were like, sweetened with honey. They were like supposed to be a health food.
Yeah,
I think.
it's Cracklin' Oat Brand.
Is this an Alberta thing?
More like Wacklin Oat
No, this
Bran.
was an early '90s thing.
If it's not, it's something Quaker made.
Yeah,
But I think you're thinking of Cracklin' Oat Brand.
Quakers,
I'm gonna have to look
Thank
that
you,
up.
Star Wars THX 1138.
yeah, what those little bran pillows?
Bran pillows.
Those are oat squares.
Yeah, they're really good. They go soggy real quick, but they don't actually taste that bad when they get soggy.
Yeah.
You mean like a mega wheat compared to the mini wheat?
It is
basically?
not Cracklin' Oat Bran.
Oh.
Cracklin Oat Bran looks like cereal links of chain.
Yeah.
Break the shackles of something.
Break the shackles of gut retention. With this, it'll wash you out.
It would not be Honey Smacks because we don't have those in Canada.
Honey smack.
Ew.
Let me smack.
There's a lot of cereals that you have in the United States and around the world, in fact, that we don't have in Canada.
Yep.
For example, we don't call it Sultana Bran.
Excuse me?
That's what it's called in Australia.
Do you mean fucking Raisin Bran?
Yes.
Oh, they're using sultanas.
Yes.
Do they actually use sultanas in it?
They do.
Oh, well then that does make sense, but it's fucking Raisin Bran here. Because we use
I-
raisins.
I ate so much Raisin Bran throughout my life that every once in a while I'm like, yeah, that looks good. And then I take a bite and I'm like, oh, this is actually ash in my mouth.
Oh no,
So, kids, do not overeat. Do not overindulge in your favorite food.
Yes.
I'm still on the Raisin Bran train.
Raisin Bran's pretty good.
Yeah, I like it, except when I start eating it, and then it's like, oh, I've eaten too much.
Raisin Brian.
See, I didn't know what a sultana is because a sultana is a grape,
Yeah,
and it is also the name of the raisin of that grape.
Yes.
The
Yep.
golden raisins.
Yes, the Thompson seedless, as it were. They're the exact same thing.
Oh, okay.
So I did know what a sultana is. It's a Thompson seedless raisin.
So then which is my current favorite type of raisin. What type of grape does a flame raisin come from then?
All right,
The
let's
fuck
find
is a
out.
flame raisin?
There are many different types of
You
raisins.
can't
out
just
there.
make up raisins.
I just love the phrase you said, current favorite raisin.
Oh, they're
As
my,
if there's, like,
Yeah, last season the previous raisin got dethroned.
I haven't tried all the raisins, so I can't say that I won't run into one that I like better than the Thompson.
He hasn't tried all the raisins.
is this going to be a Loading Ready Live bit?
It might.
The
gonna
Loading
eat
Ready
all the
Live
raisins?
tournament arc Raisin Quest.
All right. So what I've done here, in order to make my make my job easier in the
This isn't your... Well, it is your job.
the flap side, is to punch out holes, and then I'm just going to use the ruler and the X-Acto to just cut the edges off. And then I'll have a nice beveled end on one side.
I'm cutting your hair.
Flame seedless grapes.
Mm-hmm.
It is a vigorous, clarification needed,
What?
heavy bearing table grape cultivar that keeps well at storage.
Table grape.
It is a hybrid of Thompson seedless, Cardinal, and several other Vitis vinifera cultivars. Produces large clusters of medium-large red grapes with a sweet flavor.
I mean, they're probably table grapes because they're not wine.
I mean,
And they probably aren't used for raisins specifically because they're a specific cultivar. But
And
they
it's-
have been in North America since 1973.
Why are
and
they
it's
called table
probably
grapes?
it's probably a sweet flavor because a meaty grape would be disgusting.
Those are just meatballs.
Yeah.
At least then you have the texture. Imagine the texture of a grape, but with the flavor of like beef bovril.
Fun fact,
Oh, pissing beef balls.
raisins can cause renal failure in dogs.
Raisins are actually surprisingly toxic to a lot of creatures.
Huh.
Keep raisins, lose your dogs.
What?
Wow.
That's a weird campaign.
You
No,
all,
it's just a warning. Like, if you keep raisins around, you'll lose your dogs to eating them.
My favorite grape is the Concord. And I do not get it that often. But
because-
when I have had it, it is delicious.
is that because it makes the crossing of the Atlantic in under 2 hours?
Yes.
That's why you can't get them anymore too.
Yeah.
Put me
All right,
in
we're going to
the
Moscow.
trash.
Hey, Ian.
Look
Yeah.
at those tires.
Hey, what?
You have
Erect.
erected.
I think I'll barbecue about 5 million people today.
Hey, Alex.
Hey, what?
Yeah, nice. Pretty nice. Okay, so now it's all about stitching and then riveting. Riveting performance.
Some riveting content.
What the
There's an Erd
frick?
legend there. The guys from
Ian?
Ben Jerry's killed. Yes.
There's a question mark on here.
Oh, remember that's where you get to decide if you're going to be building the erect version or the flaccid version.
No, that's not what this is.
Oh no?
Okay, let's see what B43.
B43.
Was that like Love Shack
Why
or
are
whatever?
you looking over there where the sprue isn't?
Oh no, I was just repeating B43. I mean, you've got this under control.
He thinks I have this under control. Wait a minute. B. Oh no, 46. And 47. Oh, these are real small.
Wow, this thing isn't even actually stitched together.
Could you go down to electric?
Well, you know what? We're going to stitch it because why not? Let's do it up right.
Go above and beyond.
Yeah, plus ultra.
What the frickety? Oh. Oh, I see.
Oh.
We can choose
Yeah.
whether we want to use the clear ones or the opaque ones.
Oh, okay. I see what you're talking about.
So I'm just going to leave these on their sprue, and we'll deal with that later.
Okay.
Oh, now we get to build the missile. Shit, we're on the last page.
Nice work.
Dang, boy.
Man, we're going to get to nuke Washington.
Don't
Don't-
get my hopes up.
Wow! That's awfully close. We might get dusted from that one.
Oh, different Washington.
Oh, right. I fucking...
The Canadian South Pacific
Why?
Washington can stay.
You put the Washington on both coasts. That I didn't know that shit until recently, and it's fucked me up so bad. It's just like, where's Washington? Like east or west coast? Yes. Fucking...
Don't forget your loop, my dude.
The Keeper. The Keeper.
The keeper.
The Keeper.
The keeper. The keeper.
The Keeper.
The keeper.
The Keeper.
Keeper.
The caper?
Sorry, what I'm doing right now is I'm just going to punch a hole through here so that I can punch the rest of the holes without this.
49.
whole thing being together.
Okay, it's a fuel tank.
Cha!
Achoo! Bold of you to think I fear death.
Gosh, I could do this for 70 years past my death.
That one got me.
So good.
B42.
I so rarely get to make copyright jokes.
Yeah.
Oh, wait, I own that one too.
You own a joke?
Very droll.
No one else can use that joke now for 7 years past my death.
Yeah. Oh, maybe I should traumatize everybody with that. Did you see that poll, the roll poll I was doing?
The roll poll.
Okay, so I was having this conversation with Kitty Catalyst about, okay, so rolls that you get in restaurants, predominantly like Asian restaurants. There's a bunch of different ones, and what they're called, nobody seems to be able to agree upon.
that thing.
So the big one was like the Chinese style fried rolls.
Mm-hmm.
Are they spring rolls or are they egg rolls?
Well, it depends on the outer texture.
I thought
I
it
would
depended
say.
on the inner contents.
Then the Vietnamese variation that's sort of translucent, covered in rice paper, are those spring rolls or salad rolls?
Oh, those ones are definitely salad rolls. I've never seen them referred to as anything but salad
Ian,
rolls.
they're sometimes called fresh rolls or summer rolls.
Oh my god!
Yep.
Do you want a good test
I got
for this?
some good responses in that thread. It was wild.
Do you want
So-
a good test for this, though?
What's that?
At the place that I worked, which was giving food to old people, basically, any object that resembled that in a culinary sense, like any of those rolls,
Yep.
all of them are spring rolls.
Oh, okay.
So I think that is the umbrella term, and then you get into the weeds.
See, you can't call it Nim Chow because then that's actually just correct. I'm talking about like dumbass.
The dumbass English name?
Pharmacist judge used the real, like the correct Vietnamese term for the rolls, and it's like, well, that's just cheating. We need to find out what the fucking dumbass white people came up with.
Which in a way, at this point in my life,
Yep.
and at this point, I think in the development of our culture, we refer to a certain type of soup as pho, and we know that.
Yeah.
We know that it's pho, and we call it that. We don't
Okay.
have to call it Vietnamese soup. We don't have to call it like any sort of thing. It's just, this is pho.
Same with ramen.
Same with ramen. Same with a lot of things like that. And I'm like, maybe we should start adopting the actual terms.
Yes.
Because it'll just be way easier. Because we'll know what we're getting.
Because do you know what term I hate more than any for food?
What's that?
Pot sticker.
Oh, Christ, yeah.
Oh yeah.
Fucking, it's a
Like,
gyoza.
I like
Or
knowing it's
a-
gyoza, because then I know what's in it.
Yeah, what's in it and how it's going to be cooked.
Oh, I thought they were pierogies.
Well, those are a little different, because they're not made exactly the same way with the exact same contents. A gyoza versus a pierogi might look exactly the same, but when you say this is gyoza and this is pierogi, it's like, oh, I know what's in those, most likely. I know one has a lot of potato.
Beach. Show me a corrugated pierogi, and I will agree with you that gyozas and pierogis look in any way similar. I'll wait.
Corrugated.
Yeah, that's how you know the difference, because gyoza are corrugated.
True.
I got you, you fucker!
I've seen homemade pierogies be pinched together, but they always end up being flat on the edge. Like I've seen them be pinched together, but they always end up flat.
And there's like,
Probably the dough.
there's that old, God, kreplach. Kreplach?
Klavkalash.
No, it's
Kreplach?
it's another type of dumpling. And there's like a
Oh yeah, no, I know what you're talking about now.
yeah, there's one of those like classic Yiddish jokes or stories about it where there's some kid who's like terrified of kreplach, or Kreplach, however it's pronounced. And like the doctor gets his mom to like show the process, and he's like fine through the whole thing, and then once she like does the last thing and folds it over, he freaks out. It's very silly. Why
Also,
was I toasty?
I fry my pierogies. I grew up in a family that boiled their pierogies.
You now fry them?
Now I fry my pierogies.
Mm-hmm. Oh, some other person responded to my poll by saying lumpia.
Oh yeah.
I can't tell if you're rage tapping.
No, that was one of my favorite PAX experiences, was staying up until 2 a.m. trying to get lumpia.
Trying to get food. Period.
Yeah.
We were trying to find a place to eat. We walked past the lumpia place an hour and a half, like the lumpia truck. We walked past that and walked around for 90 minutes until we're like, F this.
Just stagger. I was like, give me some fucking lumpia.
Yeah.
I don't even know what it is. Give it to me.
I did.
I'm
I
hungry.
didn't know what it was either.
Nope.
It was probably really tasty.
It
wasn't
was. This was also back in the days before cheap data for people going to the States.
Oh no.
So yeah, we couldn't just look up what lumpia was.
Yeah, we had to kind of go
You
on.
just had to go on faith.
Yeah.
Like, what country is lumpia from?
I think it's Caribbean.
Dick, dude, I'm gonna be like, Jesus, take the wheel. In Caribbean.
Hey, Jesus.
Oh no, that's what I was trying to avoid.
Filipino. I'm wrong.
Aha.
Oh, okay.
I knew it was an island nation of some sort, which is why I thought there's lots of those in the Caribbean. I'll just say that.
Yep.
I mean, I had a girlfriend from Trinidad whose family made a lot of Chinese food because it was in the family.
Famed Filipino musician Bob Marley.
Sure, drag beach.
What the fuck? I don't know anything about the Philippines, so I can't even reference anything, offensive or not. It's an island nation.
And
People
they don't want our garbage anymore.
Yeah, because we fucked them over on a garbage deal, and a guy dressed as garbage and was like, Canada, take your fucking garbage back, you savages. And we're like, huh, good thing we don't have a problem with...
It was a really garbage deal.
It was. Why did we send them their garbage? Did they actually declare war on us?
Well, given that they're...
Because like people laugh, but apparently that like Filipinos are not to be fucked with. Like they're serious business.
Yes.
It's just like Spartans, where you're just like, oh, they're just like this little nation. It's like I would
wouldn't.
eat my own tongue and bleed to death rather than like deal with these guys.
All right. Let's start making this buckle piece. Let's buckle down.
Gotta buckle up before you can buckle down.
Buckle up, 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 buckle up.
It's laser time.
Don't forget about your keeper.
Yes.
I'm just reminding you because you forgot twice last time for the
Oh
the
yeah.
rings.
Yep. Nope. That's fair.
People in chat are having conversation about the preparation of vegetables from raw to cooked, and it reminded me of the fact that the other day, Heather with her braces, it's hard
Oh,
with a lot of
tooth jail.
Yeah, exactly. Having your teeth in teeth jail means that you have to be cautious about what it is that you make. And so I'm like, well, we could get some broccoli and I could I'll boil it for a bit so it softens and then we can actually finish it off somehow. She's like, sure, I guess we can do that because we haven't had it in a while. And then I was like, wait. I got the pressure cooker.
Ooh.
We could steam this shit. And we did. And it was amazing.
It's delicious.
Sweet.
Yeah.
And not only that, I cut the crown off, and then I finished it in a hot pan with olive oil
Ooh.
real fast.
Yep.
And I was like, oh, I'm doing this from now on for the rest of my goddamn life.
Yeah.
It's like, sorry, go ahead.
I was gonna say I do love me some steamed broccoli, but what my real love of my life, broccoli wise, is blasted broccoli.
Excuse me?
cut your broccoli up into
Florets.
into florets. Put it on a pan. Preheat your oven to 450 to 500. 450 is probably good.
Toss in a hand grenade.
Well, brush each one with olive oil. Get it good and saturated if you can. Season with salt. Put in the 450-degree oven. Leave it there for, I believe it's 7 minutes. Take it out for 1 minute. Maybe put some
Spices.
some ground up garlic on it if you like.
Or cayenne, or a little bit.
450 Fahrenheit. And then put it back in for another 3 minutes. And it should be nice and blackened around the edges and just crispy on the bottom.
Oh, wait a minute. I think Robin's done that, and it's really good.
Yes.
It's basically just fast roasting, right?
No, it's almost like frying,
Now shred
like an air frying.
Shred some Parmigiano, or another hard,
Ooh, yeah.
hard flavorful cheese, or even if you got it, just some cheddar, just a little cheddar over top of it. You're done.
Beach, did you know I still make oyakodon from time to time based on that recipe that you taught me?
That's awesome.
Yeah, it's really good. Although I did find a new way to cook chicken. I don't remember where I learned this, but you get the thigh, and debone it, and you leave the skin on, and you fry it skin down until it gets nice and crispy.
This is
And then you finish the other side, and then you can cut it into pieces. It's so delicious.
That's my Japanese style these days.
Mmm.
Been making teriyaki this past week in a lot of various permutations.
Yeet.
The salmon was just amazing.
You're making me hungry.
Yeah. Food after this? F58 and 17.
I'm going to go 4 loops each side.
I'm gonna go home and probably have a hamburger because they're in my fridge waiting for me to cook them.
Okay, so as long as we're talking about food strats, here is like a very simple, very delicious dessert. You get frozen raspberries, and then you put table cream on top of them, and the lightest dusting of just granulated sugar. It sounds really simple, but the cream freezes to the outside and becomes like instant sweet cream. It's so good.
I like just doing raspberries, honestly, with
That's really
Just glazing raspberries.
well, not I don't like frozen fruit, but I do.
You might like this.
I've actually tried it.
Oh, okay.
Yeah, not a fan because it's like, oh great, now I need to wait. You wait 3 minutes between each strawberry while it melts in my mouth before I can eat it, because I got sensitive teeth.
Okay, that's different.
Yeah.
Table cream is 10%. It's one tier shy of whipping cream. It's like 10 or something. It's more butterfat than half and half, but not as much as whipping cream.
Yeah, I generally go with the whipping or the heavy for what I work with.
I mean, heavy might be the same as table cream.
I don't like that. Oh no, I like to go higher than.
I thought heavy cream and whipping cream are the same thing in Canada, because we have a different means of referring to these things.
Heavy cream has different neutron moderating properties. And you can...
Oh, is it a reactor poison?
That got you good.
Cream of deuterium.
Well, that always got me was the Enterprise's impulse engines run on slush deuterium, right?
What?
So you could just go down to the local 7-Eleven and get a double gulp of slush deuterium.
The deuterium machine's busted, man. We'll just get canned. It's not the same. The propulsion's uneven.
I want to mix it with the ice cream.
What the fuck?
We call it a warpy.
So who else has screamers?
Like the cocktail or whatever?
No. This is a thing. I have no idea why they're called Screamers. But it's soft serve and a Slurpee.
You could also call it a squishy if you were in northern Alberta.
Wait, they referred to those as squishies there?
Yep.
Like the Quickie Mart.
Yep.
Oh, interesting. Okay.
Huh.
Where I'm from.
Yeah. Well, the thing is, like, when I moved here, and everyone who has lived here all their life was like, "Oh yeah, you should go get Screamers." And I'm like, I don't know what that is.
That sounds frightening.
Yeah.
That sounds questionable.
They're really good.
Yeah.
Yes.
Especially, I've been getting them with, what the hell's it called? Orange. Yeah, Orange Crush. So it tastes like a creamsicle. Or a cream slice.
Nice.
Nice slice.
Nice slice.
Blanco Nino.
Nice catch, Blanco Nino, but too bad your ass got sad. So that's got to be like 20 years old now, right?
I think,
No,
Christ.
like 10.
Are we farther from the Fensler film? That
I can't handle. I was driving along, listening to the radio because I do that because I'm old apparently. Holy shit!
Wow, yeah.
And to CBC Radio 1, and they were talking about that everyone's going fuck nuts in Toronto right now because of the Toronto Raptors being like the first NBA Finals game that will ever be played outside of the United States.
Oh.
And I'm like, wait,
Oh.
the Raptors are in the finals? And it's like, in their 24-year history, I'm like, oh, fuck me! I can't take. I remember when they were an expansion team. They're part of like now they're a legacy
Okay,
team.
now they're good.
Yeah,
Expansion team?
yeah, like them and the Grizzlies. The Vancouver Grizzlies and the Toronto Raptors were expansion teams, and it was kind of like, can Canada really deal with basketball?
24 years later, apparently, yes.
Apparently, yes. So
Don't let your dreams be dreams.
Yeah. Doesn't that Heritage Minute say that Canadians invented basketball?
Yes, we did.
and Canadian.
And Canadian.
And Canadian.
One Canadian.
He did certainly invent basketball when
Oh,
he was down in the U.S.
Piss of shit.
Just like and Canadian invented the telephone when he was down in the U.S.
Someone has literally said, wait, the Vancouver Grizzlies? And I can't deal with that either. Are you under 20 years old? Those of you in the chat?
Let's put it this way: I can tell you when the Vancouver Grizzlies became an expansion team because I had one of their hats,
Oh, yeah.
and you know what color it was?
Teal?
Yes, a color you could only get in the 90s.
It doesn't exist anymore.
They phased it out.
That was Pantone's approved color for 1990 to 1999.
We're on to turquoise now.
Holy shit. There was a Honda Fit parked outside earlier that I
The
saw.
fuck is a Honda Fit?
It's a really nice car. It's like a 5-door hatchback. Got a lot of room inside. It's like, think it's 2/3
The hatch
of a
is the
minivan.
fifth door.
Yeah, think of it as.
Oh,
2/3
okay. It
of
was
a
like
minivan.
5 doors. There's just like the 6th door doesn't actually go anywhere.
So, and Heather and I were walking past, and she's like, "I like the color of that car," and it was seafoam teal, except it was really nice. It was really rich, like it had a little more blue to it, and I was like, this is a really nice version of a color that I used to be really freaking into when I was younger. And I was just surprised. I'm like, it's been 20 years, but it's finally come back around. Teal is kind of, they found nicer teals.
Is it like teal or cerulean? Or
It's
something?
not cerulean. It was definitely a blue-green mix. And it was like, I like this color. But it was also, it was really weird. Here, a 22-year-old fan, thank you Gizmo Freak, has never heard of the Vancouver Grizzlies. You wouldn't, because they were in Canada 24 years ago and they left soon after.
Yep. Are we now? I'm just curious. Are we farther from than the Fensler films were from G.I. Joe? Now?
That's all.
I think yes.
Yeah,
Okay.
maybe.
I think yes. I think they are, because I think that G.I. Joe was early 80s, no, mid 80s. Wait, we watched The Toys That Made Us.
Yes, we should know this.
Yeah, 1984, 83, 84, 85.
Sex crime?
What?
Getting my Eurythmics references in here, nice, hot, and fresh.
So if you assume that they made it in well, I got to university in 1997. We must have watched them around the year 2000. So if that's 15, 18 years, I have aged more than 18 years since I've left university. So, yes, we are further from Fensler film than Fensler film is from G.I. Joe.
Joe.
Ain't that a B?
That's
I really go out of my way to avoid the like, do you feel old yet? It's like, no, I feel like you're an asshole.
You know, the funny thing is I don't feel old.
No.
I love all this stuff. It's just surprising.
It's just like, dang.
Yeah, when I realized, I'm like, wow, a lot of time has gone by. So much cool new stuff has happened since then.
Pork chop sandwiches.
I'm not going to feel old for a long time yet, I don't think. I just like to make fun of the fact that I should.
I will say, like, my greatest hope is that I end up like my grandfather, who is just like shenanigans right to the ripe old age of 100.
Oh, yeah.
actually what does make there is a thing that made me feel old today.
What was that?
And that was when someone suggested that Apple might solve their current laptop keyboard woes by just eliminating the keyboard entirely and putting a touchscreen down there. And the forum that I was on where we were talking about this, some of the use were not completely taken aback by that being a bad idea. Like, yeah, I can see doing that.
Just, you know, two iPads smushed together.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Thanks, I hate it. Does nobody give a shit about tactile response anymore? These goddamn kids and their fucking I don't know.
You okay there?
No, I'm trying to think what like Ute culture things piss me off. I don't think I want to say there's not many of them because I think I try to be understanding of stuff even if I don't understand it. Or just like, okay, well, I guess that's what they're into, you know, just like I don't know how to floss, but
I mean,
you do you.
Fortnite was one of those things where it was like mildly, where I'm like, I don't get why all the kids cottoned on to this specifically. But then again, I was like,
free to play.
sure. But then it was also like Minecraft was the same way, wasn't it? And then I realized the magic 4 words: "This too shall pass."
Yeah.
Holy shit! You're just like in a shell crater, like like shivering. It's just like this too shall pass. What, Fortnite? I guess.
The first thing that I noticed disconnected me from the youths of today, my younger coworkers at my previous job, was everyone seemed to have this Snapchat thing and we're using all of these filters, and I'm like, what? What's the point of this?
Right.
Excuse me, sorry. I tried to cover the mic.
I'm pretty. I've said this on Checkpoint before, but I'm pretty sure that because Tim Sweeney, I believe that's who runs Epic.
Mm-hmm.
His stance is that he's wanted to create the same system they had in Snow Crash, like the big. I forget what the hell it was called again, but the virtual space that they run in Snow Crash. He wants to do that. He thinks it's a great idea, and he thinks it's a great way for people to interface with each other. You know, as a way of kind of breaking down, you know, barriers and that kind of stuff. So he's trying to build that, and the way they're doing it, as far as I can tell, is through Fortnite. Because millions and millions of play sessions, and so much money and so much concentration, and every time a new idea for something comes out, they, you know, Epic takes it and says, let's integrate that into Fortnite. And that might end up being the evolution of a thing. Like maybe it could be the next Facebook, right? It's just like where kids are going to hang out. Where they go to hang out, they just go to hang out in Fortnite and do stuff. Maybe they don't even end up actually.
Yeah, I could see that.
Yeah.
Like, okay, but I will say, have you seen some of the shit that goes down in VR chat? I'm gonna be the next Hokage. I couldn't handle that.
Only after you get baptized.
Oh boy, that. Well, somebody pointed out that was like the person being baptized was homebound. That it was very heartwarming. I was like, I'm sure, yeah. Like, it can also be very bizarre.
Yes.
Like that intersection is like no less strange. It's just like it's a very, I don't know. It's like I kind of dig peculiar intersections of like tradition and technology. Like, when there was like, weren't there people holding a funeral vigil in World of Warcraft?
I could see
Probably.
And then a bunch of total bastards crashed it?
Yeah, I remember this.
Yeah, that's very weird. All right, let's assemble the nuclear penis. Actually, wait, I don't want to do that because I might want to put a missile in here.
Well, you're gonna have to
Give a
decide
lighter.
pretty quick.
Well, I'll just put this on.
You gotta
top.
pull the control rod out first, then inhale, then put the control rod back in.
Okay, are they tipped with graphite?
You didn't see any graphite.
There's no fucking graphite on the roof. You're
fucking
delusional.
graphite
I hate to say it, I really love the memes coming out.
I am loving the memification.
They're so horrible, some of them, but like, god damn! If you're not watching Chernobyl, and you feel like ruining your mood forever,
Yeah. It's a very difficult show to watch, but it's very good.
it's hard to say that I enjoy it because I really don't. But it's
a piece of-
really, really good.
As a piece of filmmaking, it's fantastic. I think Cam put it best when he was saying that rather than being a documentary, they decided to make it into a method of telling stories.
Yep.
There's
And
there's been a move towards that more too, as the idea of historical
Historic cinematic universe.
Yeah, that we saw on Kotkey.
Yes, we did,
And
because we still use RSS.
but it's such a great idea that it's like this might be the best way to tell a lot of stories to people is to do it in this way to
Well, it gets people paying attention to it.
build entertainment around things you need people to know.
As long as you're being accurate in what you're choosing to portray. Or mostly accurate. Wow. That's, can make a dance like that, eh?
Down boy.
Topple!
Topol.
Number one.
So, a couple more things.
Well, I'm going to say that this seems like a good time for us to take a short break.
That's a great idea, and I can figure out why my brother called me.
Yeah, we're going to, as I said, take said break, and we'll be back with more leatherwork and a little bit more model making after this. Don't go away. We're going to be at Magic Fest. Welcome back to Tinker Tailor Soldier Fry here on the mighty Loading Ready Live Video Entertainment Network. I'm Ian, and this is Alex.
Hey, what's up?
We're building stuff because that's what we do here on the program. It's a let's try, not a how-to. During the break, we were actually talking a bit more about video entertainment that we've been enjoying. Specifically, I wanted to talk. Well, I wanted to talk with Alex about the Akira movie. That's
Yeah, okay, so this was announced ages ago, right?
like earlier this year, I think.
No. The Akira live-action movie has been a thing
Oh, it's in production, but
for ages, and we're just like, this is going to be dog shit.
yeah, but this
It doesn't matter. But
this-
now,
Yeah, now it's in the hands of Taika Waititi.
which is enough to make me go,
Maybe.
I'm not like, it's like, oh my god, it's going to be great. I'm just like,
What you're saying is they have your attention now.
well, they have my attention, and it's just like,
Whoa. Okay. Your mic just went real weird. Sorry. Talk a little bit.
hello.
Okay, we're good. We're back. Wow. Okay.
Okay,
Keep talking.
good, we're back.
I don't know what happened.
I don't know either, but
I'm scared.
Taika Waititi of the Thor 2 fame.
Whoa, did it again. Your mic's getting buried in your neck. Okay.
Okay, that's Alex.
You might
Okay.
have to just pin it further down on your shirt. Yeah. There we go.
I hate this fucking thing.
Never behaves. Anyway,
Yeah,
but-
I'm willing to see what he does with it.
well, what they've mentioned, just to bring everyone up to speed who's not aware, is they were talking about the fact that they specifically do not want to remake the animated movie.
And I'm like, thank fuck.
Yeah,
Because
that story's
There's no reason
you don't
to.
need to. It's perfect already. It doesn't need to be legitimized.
Well, I was
by
just gonna
live
say, it's
action.
just like, okay, remaking, an animated movie as like
It's live action.
as live action. It's like, okay, whatever. But it's like Akira, especially. It's like you are dealing with a literal legend.
Yeah. But what he has said is that he wants to tell some of the rest of the Akira story.
Because
that's
there's lots of
Yeah,
it.
like for those of you not aware, Akira, the movie, was produced while Akira the manga was still in production. It's an unfinished story. at that point. It's like God, what's another? It's like Sir X, yes. It's like any animated work. Let's be honest.
Naruto.
Yes.
Bleach.
Basket.
Okay.
Game of Thrones.
Orotsuki Doji.
Dune.
So
Um,
there's plenty more going on in the comic. Like lots of it goes.
places.
That is exciting because there's plenty that could happen, especially because spoilers. The comic goes through the apocalyptic event of Akira wiping out Neo Tokyo a second time, and then continues on to see what happens after that. It's like, okay, Tokyo's been destroyed. Chapter next.
I love stories that deal with the aftermath of things.
So that's cool.
Because it's really easy to write an end like that.
And then everybody died.
But it's hard to write
That's,
beyond that.
yeah, so it's pretty interesting to see what happens.
But I do hope that he keeps a scene of a police satellite with a laser.
Yeah.
Like the fact that it
Well,
has the police
well,
badge on the front was just to
Does
me.
it?
Doesn't it have that? Thing?
No, it's like a government thing, right?
Oh, maybe I've.
Well, the cool thing is in the manga, the general, what's his face? He
Then
gets
we're going to the Olympics.
no. He gets that chain smoking scientist dude to make him a portable laser designator.
Hello.
It's so cool. He's got this like little tiny like bashed together thing, and like some punks are just like, "Ugh," and he's just like, click, just like annihilates them with the like
Just comes
wrath
down.
of God.
That is rad.
It's very cool.
I actually, this is a horrible admission of mine. I haven't read Akira yet.
Really?
Yeah.
Would you like to borrow it?
Maybe, because that would be easier to read. That.
I was gonna say it's like you could buy the monolithic Akira
Yeah.
cube that is available
And
now.
I would like to, but I'd like to know that I like it first.
You probably will, but seriously, if you want to borrow the books, I have them.
I would very much appreciate that. Thank you.
So, I hope I'm not jinxing anything, but what if they got the hat trick? Book, anime, movie. Dare we to dream?
Such a thing has not been...
That's a tall order. I don't want to get my expectations up that high.
I mean, oh, yeah. Sorry, I just remembered that Pluto is also in productions for the same thing.
I beg your fucking pardon?
Now, you want to talk about trifecta there.
What did you do? Okay, back the bus up. Pluto.
Yes.
Live action?
I think it's live action.
Was there an anime?
No.
You'll find that the Pluto story was based upon the Astro
Oh, shut the fuck up! Asshole.
World's Strongest Robot. It's still my favorite arc because it's one of the few arcs of the 1980s Astro Boy series.
That's fucked.
It is.
I hope it's good, because god damn, that comic is...
That was the first time I saw one of my cartoon heroes almost die.
All right, so Pluto, which is a manga by Naoki Urasawa.
of monster fame.
Yeah,
I'm Japanese.
That was the rights to Pluto were purchased by Universal Pictures and Illumination in 2010 for a live-action CGI film. No news has emerged since. A play adaptation that incorporated 3D imagery via projection.
I don't hate that.
It opened at Tokyo's Bunkamura Theater Cocoon in January 9, 2015. An anime adaptation by Genko and Studio M2 was announced to be in production at the 2017 Annecy International Animated Film Festival in June 2017. So there's an anime adaptation that's in production as of 2017.
That's gonna be a tough watch.
Taking their time.
It's 2019, so they have to be taking their time. This is gonna be some giant robo shit. Like
Yep.
they're literally gonna spend a lot of time to do this.
I'm happy with that. Also,
Oh man.
If they can still make it, like if they can afford it.
Sorry, now you're just reminding me that Giant Robo exists.
Oh, Alex, wait on that.
What do you mean, wait on that?
Because our good friends at we should really approach them for a sponsorship at not manga. Who's my favorite people?
Sentai Filmworks.
No, the other ones.
AIC.
No.
Am I just gonna be shitty about this
Yeah,
the entire
you,
time?
you should.
Okay. Let's see. Animago. I liked Animago.
Yeah, anybody, Central Park Media, no.
Okay. Software Sculptors.
Funimation.
U.S. Manga Corps.
Oh, yes. Oh, yeah. Oh, manga!
Okay. No. Seriously, who are you talking about? Do
Why
you think?
can't I remember? Discotheque.
Ah, there we go.
Discotheque got the license.
La
for
Araña
it.
Discoteca. El Speedro Gigante.
Alex,
Sorry, go ahead.
They're producing a Blu-ray.
I'm going to have an orgasm!
Guess what's going to be on the Blu-ray?
Oh god.
Japanese with English subtitles,
Uh-huh.
the modern dub, and the original VHS English dub.
Oh wow.
Yeah.
I don't have a lot of fondness for those ones, but fuck. Giant Robo is just such a big
It's
fucking
so
deal.
important.
Yeah. What Leonardo the Ninja Turtle doing the voice?
Yep.
Du, 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 du.
Wait, hang on. Are you talking about Akira still?
No.
Oh, you changed tax on me without realizing what the hell was going on. Okay, who are you? What series were you talking about?
Giant Robo.
Okay. Wow. Damn. Nice.
Yeah, remember that from Bad American Dubbing? That
Yes.
Bad American dub?
Yes.
Yeah, it's getting a new English release.
Okay. Cool.
Awesome.
I still like my Eye of Vogler DVD collection.
Oh, it's pretty good.
It's really cute.
Yeah, that thing
Oh,
that
man.
ends civilization's
And we're-
pretty cute.
Okay, so massive spoilers, but I like that the crux of that entire series is based on him mishearing his father's dying words. He's like, wait, what?
You want to be what? Oh.
Oh, you okay? Yeah, sorry.
Oh.
So you're saying I shouldn't have built this giant eye to destroy humanity?
Oh.
So I fucked up. Okay,
Sorry, Dad.
sorry.
Isn't that usually how it goes, though?
Yeah.
It's just like, Shizumi, you seem kind of rattled. How come you're like incoherent? Oh my god, I killed everyone. I can't fix this.
Check it out.
Giant Robo is so fucking good.
A buckle piece.
And it has the keeper.
Yeah. I did everything right this time. Now we're going to rivet this shit to the bag. Alright, where are you going to go? You're going to go here.
So that sequence, oh god, at the end where, well, near the end, where Daisaku is in the motorbike or whatever, and he's like driving, and then all these characters from everywhere just start
Yup.
showing up, and that, whew,
Such a good program.
it's really something.
Alright, let's see how much space I need to leave for the strap and flap. It's about there is going to be where it connects, roughly. Let's assume it's like that, because that's going to have a bit of give to it. So that means it's going to flip over like this. I want it to. So we'll give it a bit of a strap. So yeah, about there is going to be where we want it. I think.
Strapping young lad.
So yeah, we'll put it in an aesthetic place because we can always trim the buckle to match.
Or the strap, rather.
Yeah. So we're gonna put that up there actually just a bit.
Give him
more
the
so we
strap.
can-
Give him the strap. So I didn't realize that leather culture has like a hierarchy.
Really?
Yeah, you know those hats that you see like leather dudes? You can't just wear one of those. You have to earn it.
Oh, you mean within? Wait, what? Oh, you mean the leather daddy culture?
Yeah.
Really?
Yeah.
I had no idea.
What hats?
You know the little leather caps.
I did not know this either.
Surely. Like if you saw one, okay, think Tom of Finland.
Yeah, I am.
From the Okay, so move your eyes up from the kielbasa. The little beret.
How does one earn one?
Through practice.
I bet you anything it's like a Masonic order or something.
Is
where
it
it's
good
like,
deeds? Like you get like 8 reach arounds, you punch your cards, and it's
You know homosexuals do other things, right?
Yes, they
Right?
cook, they eat,
Yeah.
they make paintings.
Really good paintings. What up, Blind Decker?
Not all of them, by the way, as well.
Yeah, so yeah, I guess it. I don't know the details, but like it is bestowed upon you as like a uniform.
Did you
kind of
save
like-
another daddy's life?
It seems like the kind of thing that would be, if it's bestowed upon you, it's like it's an understanding that it's like, yeah, no, you occupy a certain role within the subculture, and therefore I think you could start wearing this hat now. And they're like, oh, sweet, and they go get one, or somebody just shows up and says, I think it's time you can wear this.
It's like I made it myself
I have to
out of the
assume-
previous daddy who died.
There's a universal
There's a ritual.
universal conservation of leather daddies.
Yep. Anyway, that was just an interesting.
That's
That's very interesting, actually.
Thank you.
Yeah, like
That's QI.
I learned something today.
yeah.
That go through? It went through. Whole.
How weird that like a marginalized group would come up with their own elaborate rituals.
Yeah.
What up?
Well, there are multiple queer languages out there that are dying now that they aren't as necessary, but
Yeah.
like
I hope
in
that's, like,
London,
Yeah, is it Polaris?
Yeah.
Polari.
Polari.
What's Polari?
Is that a queer code language?
Oh shit!
Yeah.
So it's just like becoming obsolete.
Like Navajo,
Yeah.
but for
I
but for what?
they prefer to
Ian?
be called ladies
people who don't want to be
identified.
yeah.
Yeah.
Well, that's interesting because like on the one hand, it's like if it isn't necessary, that's great, but I feel as though something like that really definitely ought to be preserved and
Yeah.
remembered
Yeah.
why it existed in the first place.
Well, the reason why people have brought it up somewhat recently is that a lot of the people who spoke it are aging out of existence.
Yeah, the last, I believe it was the last Mohawk code talker recently passed.
Yeah, that too. But like many languages out there, Polaris wasn't written down.
Polari. It is
Polari. Polari.
Dang.
Because if you write it down, that means the police
People
could
know.
find it,
Yeah.
figure out what the whole code is, and then, oh, it's useless now.
Well, it's like flagging as well. I mean, that's still in.
Like the hanky
Yeah,
system?
that was the thing where it's just like I cannot, except by secret means, indicate what I'm into because people might beat me to death.
Yeah. Yeah.
So we came up with a secret way to do it. So yeah, that's how interesting.
All right, so I'm just going to use a pen to make or a punch to make a mark here on one of these. Marked and marked. Okay. Let's make sure that's straight. Eyeball it up. Hope and pray. Like ideally, if I was paying attention to what was being said in previous episodes, yes, I probably should have punched these out before laying anything down, but
Hey, Ian,
yeah.
time. Beep.
Wait.
I think I'm done.
Yeah, oh wow, yeah, you just have that cone.
Yeah, so like I mean I have to paint it,
Yeah.
which
Well,
I,
I mean, you
I
don't
can't do now
have to paint
because I'm gonna like disassemble some of it and very carefully go over it with my airbrush. Because if I was smart, I would have pre-painted the sprues.
That came together really fast at the end.
Yeah,
Yeah.
like the well. Do you know why?
Because the undercarriage was ridiculous.
Yeah, let's have a look. Let's see a retrospective of why this took so
Let's
long.
get it down on
to get
7.
to.
Yeah. Boom.
The details that won't be seen because they're underneath. Shit, maybe I should just have this like bailed in a ditch or something.
What do you-
That's worrying. Holy shit. It tipped over with like the end empty.
I like it.
They're tipped over and there's like two rotten kids like lifting the missile over their head, running away, and there's some like dude who's just like, oh shit, they've got the nuke. Or no, it's just like two kids in their wheelbarrow, and they got one of the MIRV warheads, and they're just like, ah. Awesome. I think these are MIRV warheads. Sweet. Well, now I can just like harass you
Yeah.
for the rest of the stream. Well, I can clean up for
Yeah,
the
you can
start.
clean up, you can harass me, and feed me chat questions if there are any.
Yeah.
Oh, I'm very excited to get this this buckle on, because that's... I mean, I thought we might finish today. There's a lot of stitching to do.
Mm-hmm.
Well, one person finished today.
Yeah. That's, good for them.
Yep.
I do have a question, Ian.
Yes.
So
please.
that is all cow leather, right?
Yes, it is.
Have you ever worked in other leathers?
I have not worked in other leathers. That said,
Walking flesh.
I considered purchasing some pigskin to line this bag with, because my other bag is also constructed with a pigskin liner. But
Goat?
I don't know how good goat leather would be.
Deer?
I let Beej ask the question for me because that is my
That's what you were
brand.
going
I
for,
just
right?
didn't know why you didn't walk there on your own.
Yeah.
Maybe
It
because
seemed
I have
obvious.
some modicum of respect for Matt,
Yeah.
unlike other people.
Hey, you like goats? I turned one into a bag.
Oh,
Great.
practical.
I'm sure the goat would be happy about that.
I don't know that it would feel one way or the other.
They all eventually die, so
Yeah.
I'm assuming you can use what's left. I guess?
Yeah. And I mean, goats are very capricious.
What?
It's right there. It's right there.
Oh, now I'm thinking about Alfie again.
Okay. We got it. Where's my
break your heart.
Where's my setter?
Also, I would assume, I don't know why, but I would assume that smaller animals have thinner skin, and therefore the leather would be more, like a lady's purse. It would feel like loose, like a soft bag, as opposed to a structured bag.
I would think it is the environment in which they live.
Okay.
Like if they live in colder environments versus warmer environments, right? Because then your skin would have to retain heat differently.
Yeah. Yeah.
So the thickness and how supple it is probably changes.
Change that view there while I...
The supple mass. So I should talk about other kits that I have.
Yeah.
So I liked building this one because it was one that was sent by a fan. I don't remember who you are, but thank you, whoever you are, because this was cool. What do I have at home? Because I have some scratch builds that I've been meaning to make, and the scratch builds, I don't know that I would do them on Tinker Tailor. A, because I need access to a lot more tools, and B, because I kind of keep that for myself. But I can tell you about them. There's one that I want to do. Nice. That's
Goes with the sides quite well.
I haven't read the book Gravity's Rainbow, but there's a reference in it that I thought was really funny, and I wanted to depict it because my understanding of the book is that one of the characters spends some time fretting over being struck in the head by a V2 rocket,
Yeah, that
and he wonders what it would feel like.
That sounds
So
like
what I
something
want to
around.
do is make a little diorama of an English street corner with like maybe a shop and like some pavement, maybe a dog, and a gentleman with a paper under his arm just sort of looking up, and then an entire V2 crashing into his forehead, like right between the eyes, and the front, like the nose cone's going to be slightly crumpled.
Yeah. I think you may have mentioned this once before, but yeah, that sounds like
I think that's going to be funny.
I think
Yeah.
it's going to be a great little piece.
Because there'll be like a, I'll have to put an armature wire up through the figure so that it'll support the entire missile.
Yeah.
It was punk rock zoologist who sent you that.
Thank you. Yeah, that'll be funny. I also wanted to do like a partial scratch build of like kit bashing of like a test site for a German railgun, where they have like a bunch of sci-fi shit, and then like a decommissioned Sherman tank with a giant hole in it, and all the scientists in lab coats are like popping champagne, and then behind a berm there's like SAS guys. That's maybe a little bit elaborate, but
Still real good. I think what I'm going to do here is I'm going to stitch for the rest of this episode, because what I can do is make the, what is it called? The billet, and attach it afterwards, because it's just a straight flap. We can rivet that on without having to disassemble the bag.
this is good sprue.
And make good use of
I should
it.
keep this sprue.
That's good. That's good.
Well, this is
sprue.
good sprue because it has like corners, so these can be pipes and like junctions and so forth.
Always, yeah. We keep that around for the kit bashing episode.
Yeah. Also, have you ever made wire out of?
I have not, but Cam has demonstrated it on the show before.
It's wild.
Really cool.
It's very cool. It takes a lot of subtlety,
Yep.
but it's pretty cool. I like it.
I love that is a thing that you can do as a modeler, and that somebody had to come up with that.
Yeah, there's a lot of cool kit bashy stuff. Oh, I know what I could do while I'm waiting.
What you gonna do? Ooh,
Other thing I do.
hold up. Oh no, don't worry. Actually, that's something we have moving cameras. I was gonna say we could switch spots. So we could put you on the overhead, but
Maybe I'll just ink this.
Is it clean?
What?
yeah.
Yes.
Okay.
I only have one NSFW picture in this. So I kept meaning to like draw anything I wanted in my sketchbook, but I'm still too gun shy because I occasionally like people have opportunity to look, and I'm like, oh, okay. I need a new sketchbook where I can draw titties.
Because you haven't done that in any of your previous ones.
You can neither confirm nor deny that.
Yeah, that's your job.
So, who's going to tell Ian it's off center? Orion's Rise. It's close enough to center that I don't give a fuck.
Hooray!
I wasn't going to mention it, but now you have, so I
You
guess
could-
we're dealing with that.
You could purposely detail it to be like it looks handmade and it looks a bit off kilter, and
It's already that way.
It's your first bag.
Yeah, it's my first bag, and if you, again, as we've mentioned, if you look at some of these punch jobs, the holes do not line up with the not gouge. What do we call it? The channel that I've carved in, especially on the inner side. So this is definitely a first draft. Hey, can I do this? And yeah, it turns out I can. So next time, now that I know better, this is learning to do by doing. This is me figuring it out. Yeah, next time I will definitely measure on the panel before sewing anything together. And frankly, it's my bag.
it's your bag.
It's my bag.
And it's now or never.
You also made like an Anne Frank joke.
What?
Wasn't that a line of like Trapper Keeper things?
Really?
Anne Frank?
Oh,
Lisa
Lisa
Frank.
Frank.
Sorry, Lisa.
Jesus
Oh my god!
Oh my god.
Good night, everybody.
Somebody kill me.
Anne Frank and her, and, you know, her.
I'm sure she was a believer.
Yeah, well, she, you know, had little unicorn stickers all over her diary.
Stop!
Don't clip any of this.
No.
There's no point. It's not going to make it in.
I hate my life.
That's sad to hear.
But that said, Lisa Frank did make a resurgence back in the 2000s, I recall.
Did she?
Yeah,
A little bit, yeah, in the odds.
they brought it back.
Well, there was a reference to it in, like, Gone Home, right?
Was there? I don't think they explicitly, because they unbranded a lot of stuff.
I gotta say, I'm a fake geek boy because I haven't played Gone Home.
No, you're not. There's no fake geek boys.
Good point. all bravado.
I would just end up speed running it anyway.
There's an achievement for doing that.
Yeah.
It's always like kind of tedious every time like a sale comes out for that joke, and all these shitheads come out of the woodwork to be like, "It's not a game." And they melt.
It sure resulted in a lot of reactions and a lot of feelings. And
Just like-
games do that.
It's like, ew, you people are still here. Disgusting.
Oh, your mic cut out.
Probably for the best. It's when I burst into flames.
No, it's completely gone.
Oh, wow.
Oh wait, it's back. What the hell? That upsets me. I will just keep letting you know when that happens.
Okay.
I mean, it is the cursed mic 2.
So if anyone's curious about what I'm doing with these safety pins, this is just for me to
Look
allow
hard.
Sorry? Yeah, just to go hard.
Just to look hard.
Yep.
You're
No,
punk rock.
It's there to hold stuff together while I deal with this massive amount of thread that I have. Until I can get it to a state where it's manageable.
Apparently, there is a trend now to wear safety pins. If you
I heard about that.
if you live in a city that have immigrants,
Uh-huh.
that you wear a very noticeable safety pin on your clothing, so that if they see it, that's kind of, I guess, being passed around as information. If they see it, they know they're safe with you.
I remember seeing stuff about that, like,
Yeah,
a year or two
I don't know
ago.
how
Yeah.
cynical I want to be about that. I'm just like, did anybody tell them, or did people just decide that so that they could feel good about themselves?
I feel like it's one of those things that's kind of like was supposed to be passed around kind of underground. Like, you don't really let a lot of people know.
Which is
But-
why we're talking about it
But that's
online
the,
right now.
That's the thing is, like, I'd seen it recently, and I was like, I'd seen it from online, and I was like, if this is a thing we're not really supposed to pass around like widespread, I hope that isn't something that bad actors would prey on. But it would be something that bad actors would prey on.
Yeah, who knows though. The problem is that like half of those things are made up by bad actors in the first place to drive us insane because we'll like do it to ourselves. The internet's a mistake. Comments were a mistake. Anime was definitely a mistake.
Usenet's all that matters.
Carol and Tuesday's good this season.
It sure is.
What?
Carol and Tuesday.
Yeah.
It's a new anime by
Yes.
Watashi-
In association with Netflix.
Watanabe Shinichiro. It's about what happens when you let AIs make decisions about content that gets made. Ironic that it's made in association with Netflix.
Vine was not a mistake. Vine, oh, I miss Vine. God, how I miss Vine. TikTok is like methadone. It's like, it's almost as good. And we've got really cute e-girls as well.
E-Girl is a band, though. J-pop group.
Okay, well, I mean,
Oh yeah, no one cares about J-pop anymore. Now that K-pop is a thing.
Can I borrow your ruler?
Yeah. You're not going to hit me with it, are you?
You just go down the alphabet at
Damn
this
it.
point.
I mean, let me tell you about my C-rap collection.
Your what?
Fuck. I didn't...
Yeah, you didn't mean to do that.
Yeah.
And then you did.
Huh?
I have a... Yeah. Chinese rap is pretty good.
Is it?
Heather pulled up the Cantonese Sailor Moon theme the other day.
It's wild.
I flashed back to 1996 like so fast. I was like, "Oh my god, I'm on the internet in the late 90s. What's happening to me?"
It's no German Naruto.
She had never heard any of the international Sailor Moon themes.
Oh.
So then she started browsing Super Moonies, and I was like, "No, don't do that."
Holy shit. Okay, here's my pinball mind going. Finish DuckTales, YTMND. Press F to pay respects. Yeah, I think there might be like an archive backup, but they had so apparently what happens is they had their hardware go down on them
Okay.
and didn't have a backup. So
happens.
that little meme reactor.
YTMNG?
Yeah.
I think they must have, because they allowed... the Internet Archive got a...
Yeah, like I said, but they didn't have one themselves.
Ah.
And I don't know how recent it is. But, like, it's kind of a shame.
Yeah.
I never did really go on there.
Yeah, I mean, it's just like I said, it was one of the original like meme reactors where you had these places where people would just manufacture stuff.
The soundtracks that they put out on the Pirate Bay were great.
Yeah, I love those. Except that, like, unfortunately, some of the parody songs, you're like, oh man, I love that, and you listen to it, and you're like,
They don't age well.
this is so problematic. It's just like, oh man, the emo song was so funny. This is really homophobic. You're just like, I see.
Oh, content from the 90s or
But
early 2000s.
2000s is like, yeah. Yep, well, I guess it's more about, the lessons you learn
Yeah.
than being, like, flawless in the first place. Although, it depends on who you ask. It's just like, I do sometimes, like, snap awake at night thinking that somebody found something to like, cancel me for.
That's actually something that Merlin Man just posted on their Twitter.
Yeah?
One of their so on the podcast or on Do By Friday, they issued themselves challenge yourself, challenge your friends.
Okay.
They issue themselves challenges every week. This week's challenge was to do diary comics, and one of his was just a single panel of, I saw a man outside my office today that I didn't recognize, and he kept looking up through the window, and I was afraid he was there to arrest me because of my Twitter.
Oh no.
Ian, what do you think you'll be canceled over?
Oh, I can't say.
Don't admit to any of it on the air. Oh my god. Holy shit, if you do, then I'm next.
Yeah. Well, we just all go down together.
Yeah, pretty much.
Well,
Yeah,
just like the cleanest thing we can say is anime.
I need to make sure that I have not, that anything that I could be canceled for is off the internet before I admit to it. Alright, that should fix that. Or not. God damn it, I missed a stitch somewhere.
Already?
Yeah,
So you didn't save 9.
not even a little. But it's okay. Yeah, it's okay. I've got really cool hair.
Was that just for me?
That's a little joke just for Beach.
Christ.
It's because I was thinking about Macross 7 today, because I ran into a person who made some really accurate copies of Bassar's guitar.
No shit.
Yeah, they're in.
Playable?
Yeah, no, the information is in our super secret text channel on the anime directory.
Nah. Nerd.
Oh come on, the phrase super secret text channel is so good.
You're not talking about the Discord, which you can find at discord.gg/LRR, if I remember correctly.
Yeah, we have our own secret channels, I guess.
Yeah,
not
that's
even
the-
on the
That's
Discord.
not the super secret text channel. That's just the secret text
We
channel.
should start a BBS. This is how we solve the homogenization of internet content. Is we go right back to the beginning.
So
We've got to get a 56K modem.
So Alex,
Yeah.
that is actually a movement, not the BBS thing, but it is a movement right now that people are moving off of. Facebook has actually started something called Facebook groups.
Yes.
Because they're trying to
Keep people on Facebook.
Yeah, they're understanding that people don't want to have everything they do be open to everybody, because they've noticed, they've noticed this happening, so they've made this groups thing. But the reason why this is happening is because people are like, wait, I can join Slack for free with a dozen of my friends, and we can just have our own thing where we like chat with each other that nobody else has access
And
to
aren't
unless we allow
racist.
them in. And we can do that with Discord as well. We can do a lot of different products.
Yep.
What if we can just get back to posting in that way, where it's just an insular group enjoying each other's company and not having to be, putting
with
this shit up in
grandma.
front of your
One-time
putting your
internet
grandma.
renaissance. I think that would be very healthy.
Yeah, if only there was some technology that already existed that wasn't owned by another company. Allow you to do that.
You're mocking me, aren't you?
Yes.
But I mean, yeah, I don't think the Loading Ready Run forum will see a renaissance.
No.
But I think the Discord is a pretty good replacement for it.
I disagree. I think it's a good place for people to form and have a community. I think it's convenient and it allows people to have a modicum of of privacy, but there are a lot of groups that that do not need to be hidden behind walls that make it invisible to discover. Like this, what this does is all it does is it creates a culture of secrecy and a need to find people again. Like when everything is hidden behind walls that
Well,
are
it's
undiscoverable.
also like, I think there's something to be said for how performative everything has become. It's like, I don't want to sound like I'm, yearning for the good old bad old days because they don't exist.
Yep.
But there was kind of early on, before we even called them memes, it was just stuff you made to make other people laugh.
Yeah.
Whereas now it's just like, man, I hope I main page on Reddit.
Yeah.
That's how I know I've made it.
Get
Is
my
I
shit
get
on Imgur.
I want all the upvotes. I want all the likes. It's just like I have empirical metrics to measure my success by, and like I think that's horseshit. I think that leads to very cynically engineered content that is trying to go viral.
It's like part of the problems that we have today are they're newly manufactured problems because we've lost we've lost the methods of before. Like the issue with reposting people's art.
Yeah, I actually didn't even understand what that meant.
Yeah.
Like I heard reposting, and I heard reblogging. I was like, why don't you want me to like spread your artwork? It's like, oh, you don't want me to download your image and post it myself as if it's like I made this.
Yes. But if if you put your art somewhere where people could link to it, say, and go back to the source,
Yep.
I wonder how could you do that?
Can we train people how to use TinEye?
Can we train people how to use HTTP?
No, you can't. That's the point, though. That's
Yeah.
why these services exist. You cannot train the vast majority of people who are using the internet on how to use the internet as a power user. You cannot do it. But they want to use it, so you make ways for them to use it. I mean, that's why Blogger existed as a thing. That's why like GeoCities was a thing. Is like nobody wants to run their own web server. Okay, well, GeoCities will run the web servers and will let you upload your stuff to it. Well, then it's like, well, I know how to build a web page, but I want to start posting stuff. So, okay, well, then we'll build a service that helps you build a web page. Well, WordPress or whatever. Well, I don't know how to run a blog. Well, then fine, we'll run a blogging service for you. And it's like, yes, the vast growth of that, letting anyone have a chance to get involved and post things. That's why Facebook got so big.
Tumblr was great,
Yeah.
Yeah.
but the problem is monetization. If we can get rid of money, everything's fine.
Like,
Sure.
Abolish capitalism.
and that's the thing, right? It's like there's one or the other way you have to go ultimately, which is either everything has to somehow be free and you have to somehow pay, or you have to have everybody pay for a service or whatever, or you just have to not have money anymore. And it's like those are two wild extremes to try to ask people to be involved with. So it's either a free service or it's ad-backed or whatever, or they have to pay for it, or nothing costs anything because money's no longer a thing. And it's like, that's really big asks.
Could I just say for as much as I agree with the sentiment behind, abolish capitalism, that's an insane thing to just say.
Yeah.
Like we all know that, right? That it's just like, it's like it's not actually going to happen, or well, if it does, it's going to be like a very bizarre process.
It is not currently actionable.
That I think that's
Okay.
a much better way of putting it. Yeah, it's not currently actionable.
The excesses of capitalism are the things that you want to curtail.
Yeah.
It's just how do you act on that, and then who makes the decision of what constitutes an excess?
Is it the excesses, or is it also the base nature of it? I would counter that. I think there are problems inherent in the system
Yeah.
that would warrant its demise, in addition to the excesses being a problem.
I mean, I don't know. Is it true, perhaps, that like any system is going to end up dog shit along a long enough timeline? Maybe the people are fucked.
I think that's definitely the case.
Yeah, it's just like communism. Oh, that didn't work out so good. Everybody starved to death. It's like capitalism. Oh, that didn't work out so good. Everybody starved to death. Now everybody got fat and died.
Sorry, 90% of the people got starved to death.
Oh,
and then when
God.
they died, the remaining 10% didn't know how to make their own food.
Yep. The great leap forward.
But at least their children got all their
And that
parents'
time,
cash.
Stalin was like, fuck Ukraine. They're like, oh.
Who's Crane?
Fraser was very upset by that. Why was Stalin so mad at the Crane Boys? It's the weirdest arc of Frasier.
There's certainly like a lot to be said for the idea that it's like if you can spread out authority to like if you can share authority, but you can't have it. You can't let every single person decide. Well, then I'm the authority. Because I mean, libertarianism, I think, is also fraught with a lot of problems, right? So then you say, okay, well, we're going to have some established authorities to try to follow the rules that society has kind of slowly come up with over time. We know we're not supposed to murder each other or take each other's stuff.
Except specific people, and except people that we think are non-human.
Yeah, or we will train people specifically to go murder other people because we need to ensure that they're not taking our stuff.
Some murders need to happen.
Yeah. Who's are in this situation? I think it should be the people above a certain wealth shelf, and light, airy, pleasant, nice people.
Yeah, people of a certain shade, maybe. Yeah, and that is the thing. When you get reductive, it's like it's so hard to actually pin this shit down.
I think we need to dial it back to.
Yeah, sorry, we got a little off the rails.
I think we all got a little. Yeah.
So should we go back to leather daddies as a topic?
Yes.
We were talking about forums before that.
Yes, we were.
Oh, leather daddy forums.
Yeah.
It will be interesting to see the route that internet content, and specifically like memes or whatever you want to call them, going forward. Oh man, a post-meme world.
I feel like we're already transferring into that. Like,
well, they've gotten pretty deep fried, I tell you what.
Yeah.
Well, like big culture memes, I think there isn't really the impact that there was before.
We'll never have another dancing baby.
Something that was like never intended to go viral becoming viral.
Well, that's the whole point of virality, right?
Yeah, that it's spontaneous. Like you cannot engineer it by definition.
I think people are also growing out of that kind of iterative culture as well, like generating it that way.
Well, maybe.
Boy, do I have some problems with iterative culture.
I saw some.
Well, certain aspects of it anyway.
I saw some memes. I saw some memes the other day that was like a dog wearing a top hat and a monocle, and it was like, "I say, Jeeves, sit tight while I drag my ass across the carpet," or whatever. It was like some sort of thing that was like, "Here's a dog doing a thing." It's a dog thing, but it's all it's dressed up in whatever way, and I really enjoyed them because I'm fucking them up right now, but they're really good, and I'm like, these are structurally no different than stuff we've been passing around for the last 10 years.
Yeah.
Why did this make me laugh so much?
I don't know.
And then I'm passing around stuff like the old spicy keychain, and I'm like,
Did you see the one that somebody like painstakingly repainted for HBO's Chernobyl?
Yeah, I posted that.
That shit was so fucking funny.
Yeah.
It was awful.
Yeah.
But
But that's the thing is, like, I also trade in those style of memes where they're so specific, it doesn't make any sense.
Yep.
Yeah.
And that's what makes them funny.
Yeah.
Well, I think here's the difference, though. Before we were in memes, but before that we were just sharing jokes.
Yeah.
I think we're going back to just sharing jokes.
I hope.
It's not like big M memes anymore.
Yeah,
The
I don't
same
know.
way they were before.
Well, it's just like it's too. I mean, maybe it's too solved.
Yeah.
Well, remember, we're also the olds in this situation.
Yeah, we are the olds.
Like, who knows what's going on in Fortnite?
Dancing
Lots
Yeah.
of dancing.
Lot of
Lots
dancing.
of flossing.
and overwork.
And what?
And
Overwork. They
You mean
overwork their
overwork.
workers all the time.
Wait, the company that makes the game?
I mean,
Yeah.
every game.
Oh, okay. I was like, what are you talking about?
Speaking of games, how excited are you guys for the Playdate?
I'm sorry?
It's
Yeah.
a brand new console from our good friends at Panic Software. .com.
What?
Makers of fine Mac-based FTP clients, and also publishers of Firewatch.
Oh!
Yeah. Camposanto made Firewatch, but Panic was like, we want to publish that. So Camposanto said, okay, we will make that for you.
I
I
believe
see.
Campo Santo itself was kind of a cable sasser
Like a spin-off project
brainwave.
thing.
Yeah.
Yeah. But yeah, they make FTP client transmit and some other stuff that's like Panic kind of has devotion to quality stuff.
Yeah.
And they were like, we could make a game system. It might be fun.
They kind of want to make artisanal software, and they've actually pulled it off.
Was it the little crank thing?
Yep.
Yes, it is.
And the crank is like a gameplay thing.
Yep.
That's
It's a
very
control-
weird.
It's a control method.
Okay.
It's not the control method. Just
So
an
they've
additional
just
one.
solved the fishing handheld.
Yeah.
Like, let's just put that out there. If there's not a launch title with fishing, it's dead.
Well, the example they showed was of a robot, you basically controlling time for a robot by cranking backwards and forwards, which seems like an interesting mechanic.
I thought the crane was primarily there to generate battery power. You know, like
Oh, the crank?
Does
the
it?
crank.
No, and in fact, there are some internet boys who are very salty about that, and no,
Okay.
it doesn't have to be functional. It's a game machine.
I mean, I think it would be a good idea for that to be.
Well, you would
feature.
think that, but it turns out that cranks are actually a very inefficient method of generating power for any electronic device.
Yeah.
The amount of torque you'd have to have on that thing in order to generate power would be pretty ridiculous, apparently.
And now we're back to Chernobyl.
Like I have a USB crank that is I bought in Japan when I was living there. For you plug USB in one side and you can apparently generate 5 volts. Boy, that's not something you'd want to do for any amount of time,
Nope.
to be able to charge a battery.
I do like the fact that the Playdate adopted an unusual software model.
Yeah.
Because they're like, rather than just try to do it the same way, why don't we just if we're trying to make our own thing, why don't we just really make our own thing? And what would be kind of our own thing?
So
what
much-
about a subscription setup?
Yeah. Well, but not a subscription.
Well, I mean, you
It's
buy it, and it's like you are getting games every week.
Yeah.
You're getting a game every week.
for 12 weeks.
Yeah.
So it's Sega Channel.
Yeah,
Kind
kinda.
of.
Anybody remember that shit?
Yep. But do you remember the what was it? The Telestra? Satella. Satellavision.
It's a Teleview.
Yes, for the Nintendo.
That definitely sounds like something Ian would remember.
More specifically for the Famicom and Super Famicom.
Yes.
They were, if you subscribe to I forget the name of the satellite service. I just looked it up the other day.
Some
They
sort of
had-
BS satellite service, and I don't mean that as bullshit. I mean broadcast satellite
Yeah,
service.
you subscribe to their channel, and you could download games onto the addition to your console.
Special carts.
Yeah. Well, not only just the carts. Apparently, the Super Nintendo actually had onboard ROM.
Really?
Yeah. So if you didn't own a cart, you could download something to it.
And then just play it in the.
Yeah. And then when you were done playing that, if you wanted to download something else, you'd have to replace whatever it was you just downloaded.
Power off.
It did not have a lot of space on it. But most people got the carts because it was an easier way to store the things you were downloading.
Oh, and people like holding on to things.
I would too. I mean, if I'm paying that much money.
I like holding on to stuff.
My favorite version of that, though, is still the BBC radio program.
What?
So back in the early days of computing, when you still loaded programs from tape,
Oh shit!
yeah, the BBC had an hour where they just broadcast software.
Did anyone ever actually play or watch Captain Future with the companion handheld?
Oh, you mean Captain Power?
Captain Power, sorry, Captain Power, which was so it was a sci-fi TV program.
Written by J. Michael Straczynski, by the way,
No shit.
of Babylon 5 fame.
Dang. And it came, like, you could buy in toy stores like a weird little like
It was a plane.
light gun, and you could fucking interact with the show.
Yeah, so it was like the most famous one was a plane, and you would hold it like a gun
Yeah, and
at the show. And
there was certain characters who had like a panel that would like
flash
flicker
off.
at a certain.
Yep. And if you didn't fire back at the right time, Captain Power would eject from his plane.
And you would be killed to death in real life.
J. Michael Straczynski would come to your home and tell you how you died.
And you just like slowly stick a knife in your eye.
Look, my take on the TV show thing, though, because it was for broadcast, was that you sat there, and when you shot the thing, you got points for it.
Yeah.
And if you didn't shoot the thing, it didn't matter because it just the show kept playing. But in our heads, we had this idea that if you didn't shoot it, you would lose. so you had to play along.
I remember something happening though when you were shot by the enemy.
Yeah, I think your toy
Yeah, it was like Rock'em Sock'em Robots.
took damage or something.
Not actual damage. That would, boy, that would be a consumer protection
Do
lawsuit.
you remember the Crash Test Dummies toys?
Yes,
Yeah.
I do.
What a great fucking idea that was.
Yeah, like a toy based on a band
Here-
is such a good thing. Sorry.
Here's a toy that you're supposed to throw at the wall as hard as you can and have it be destroyed.
And then you put it back together,
And then you learn about safety.
ostensibly.
Safety or some shit.
Wow, is that why we all think that Crash Test Dummies are better for women than they are?
What?
So this is something I recently found out about by reading it, is that Crash Test Dummies, as they are used in the industry,
Oh, right. They're skewed because they don't make female ones.
yeah, they don't, well, they just make them shaped like them, or they just don't at all, and it's only recently within the past,
They don't include the mandibles.
within the past while that they've mandated that that actual woman forms be added to the Crash Test requirements.
I'm pretty sure that means that the cartoon of the Crash Test Dummies had a woman before the actual Crash
That's
Test
what I
Dummies
mean.
did.
Is like I think we all think that they
That
tested
makes
with
my
women
brain
because
hurt.
the cartoon had it.
Yeah. It's like CPR and defibrillator training,
Yeah?
male versus female.
Mm-hmm.
It's different.
Oh dear.
But you're only told the male
Yep.
in basic.
Well, you save the important people. It's a triage,
Boy, oh boy. So hey,
which is French for I got mine, fuck you.
guys, remember that meme that was going around for the on Twitter last week about your first cartoon crush?
Yeah.
That actually did make me feel kind of old. Because I don't think I remember seeing anything in that in my follower list that was
Really?
other
Don't say it because of OPSEC.
than the one I retweeted.
I did like somebody saying that I just know that this is just going to be data mining for when the millennials are asking these questions as part of our bank credentials.
Yep.
Who's your childhood cartoon crush? What is your persona?
It's like sweats.
Just say wolf. It's wolf 80%.
That's so
of the time.
generic. That's like the vanilla furry, right?
Yeah.
You would say fox centaur. That's a lot better.
You just
Woo? More like no you. Much less
just like-
all the furries out there, by the
you,
way.
you ever
guys are
want to make
great.
a furry fall asleep immediately? They'll be like, "What's your persona, fox?" Or like, "Well, no, just wolf."
Husky.
African gray.
Snore.
And if you want them to back away slowly, you say skunk.
No, actually, furries like skunks.
My understanding is that if you pick a skunk in the community, it's kind of you're saying something very specific
sending
about
a signal.
yourself. You're trying to let people know something very specific about who you are. Is what I've heard.
I don't have that insight to know one way or the other.
Me neither. I don't know much about.
Neither do I.
I know they pay very well for commissions.
I do like capybara though.
That would
Ooh.
be an interesting furry persona.
That would be cute.
That's a furry shaped like a friend.
It's like I'm all,
Can you
I'm
be
all
a
face.
furry of cryptids?
Yep. People
So
done
you
it.
could be chupacabra.
I mean, people be dragons all the time, and those don't really exist.
Well,
They
not
don't
anymore.
really.
What the fuck
they
do you mean?
kind of, but they don't really.
I hate to break this to you, Adam or Alex, but Dragon Claws doesn't exist.
That's not fucking funny.
Not since Jon Snow killed them all. Spoilers. Or am I?
I don't know.
I did the Steve Beach there. That's rare.
The Steege. The Smeege.
What are we looking at time here?
I
Oh,
need
hey.
to refill all these pens.
They are refillable pens?
You didn't know that?
I didn't really know that.
All Copic
Ah, goodbye.
pens are refillable. That's why they're great. And these ones, the Copic Chows, are smaller barrels, so that the initial investment of the pen itself is less expensive.
I thought they were just like really good felt ends
No,
and had good
these
ink.
are refillable. It's not cheap to get started on it, but you can do it. Also,
Wow. Yeah, you just tossed it.
yeah.
I'm surprised people haven't made like metal covers for them.
Yeah, you can also replace the nibs.
Ugh.
They sell, this is so Japanese.
Copic of Theseus.
They sell specific Copic pliers, like tweezers, for extracting and inserting the nibs.
Nice.
Insert the nib.
Insert the nib.
But first, extract the nib.
Have you extracted the nib?
Do not stare
nozzle.
directly at the nib. Yeah.
Is calibrating.
Oh, such a good program. Animation is real good, guys.
Except Ralph Bakshi.
Even Ralph Bakshi.
We're going to have a fight about this.
Okay, The Lord of the Rings was not good, but it sure was.
They made choices.
I want to say ambitious. Like, you don't hand something like, even in the 70s, you don't hand something like The Lord of the Rings to just anyone.
Ian, eating a whole pizza yourself is ambitious. That doesn't make it noteworthy. It's like, I bet I could fold it sideways like a taco.
Okay, well, if we're going with that,
Throughout the whole thing.
100% Ralph Bakshi is noteworthy.
If you roll a pizza up like a burrito,
Yeah?
Go on.
could you eat it like
Yes?
as like a tube?
Oh, you
No.
mean like a setsubun thing?
Yeah.
Like American setsubun, where you roll up a pizza and have to eat it while facing south?
You have got to explain this
Sorry,
shit.
facing north, specifically facing New York. Anyway.
What?
Is it, like, what direction is it that they face?
I can't. It's
What, Mecca?
for good luck.
Or, what are you talking about?
Okay, so,
Setsubun.
during the Japanese festival of Setsubun, where you throw the beans at the demons to cast them out and bring good luck in, one of the other things you do is you're supposed to eat
Ehomaki.
which is essentially just an uncut sushi roll. And the idea is you're supposed to eat it all in one go, and that will give you luck during the new year. Not like jam it down your throat in one, but like just keep it in your mouth as you're chomping on it and keep it coming in. And you face a certain direction. I'm gonna say east because that's the sun. That's the
Where the
Where the
sun
sun
rises.
rises.
where the sun comes from. Yeah.
Yeah. The also one of the other Setsubun things I think is to eat the number of beans that equals your age.
Does Setsubun overlap with Ramadan?
Oh.
That would be
Yeah,
kind
because
of
then
in poor taste.
February.
would they be facing each other?
Oh no.
Is that in poor taste?
Well, if one of them's eating, the other isn't.
You're just stuffing your mouth with an ehomaki while somebody else is like, I am still fasting.
Like, well,
Yeah.
you're an
Rude.
asshole.
Hey, land of the rising sun. Could you set that sun so I can eat?
Jackasses.
Yeah, actually, you know what? I don't want to make any jokes about
Yeah,
Ramadan.
Yeah.
Oh, it's on a lunar calendar, so it shifts every year.
Oh,
okay.
Good.
Yeah.
Actually, I think it's slowly shifting further and further up the calendar.
Yeah, because lunar calendars would do that.
Yeah.
Right?
So, Ian,
Yeah.
I've mostly inked this. I'm literally running out of ink. But I did this sketch thinking about, this is one of the things that I kind of wanted to explore at some point, is what is the lowest level of technology you could have to access nuclear power? If you just had the knowledge, just like alternate history,
Yep.
like 1920s atomic power. So they've got like all these like boilers and like brass fittings and shit, and you know they're wearing
Yeah.
these lead aprons.
And mechanical everything.
Yeah,
Jeez.
there's like dial indicators. Here, I'll turn this on.
I don't want to think about
Yeah,
that.
that's just about one of the scariest things I can think of.
I thought we already reached that in our own history.
I mean, they were making massive steam engines that were incredibly dangerous.
Yeah,
and
exactly.
That weren't killing people.
Yeah,
It's like,
well-
this is just another way to heat a steam engine.
Well, the Chicago Pile #1, where they achieved criticality for the first time, was literally a pile of graphite bricks some of which had, I think it was natural uranium, maybe I'm wrong about that, but it had like little uranium pucks inserted. And they built a small pile that they used to calibrate how big the big pile had to be. And then they constructed it, and they got most of the way, and Enrico Fermi was like, oh, we actually probably don't need to finish the whole thing.
The problem with nuclear power is, nuclear energy in general, is not getting electricity out of it. The problem is stopping the nuclear reaction from continuing when you don't want it to. Like keeping it from running away.
It's boron control rods.
Yeah, well, that's one way, but...
Let's get a little graphite on the end there.
Yeah, and then, problematic.
I mean, like, you could say the same thing of, like, a coal fire to generate steam powers. Like, the problem is not getting the heat from the coal fire. It's making sure the coal fire doesn't burn away from us.
But coal fire is very easy to put out in comparison with a runaway nuclear reaction.
Yeah. Oh, God.
It can be and it cannot be. I mean,
A
there is
1920s civilization trying to deal with a meltdown.
They wouldn't.
They wouldn't. They'd just be like, we don't go there anymore.
Yeah, they paved this city is canceled.
Oh, God, they would just put up walls around it.
Yep.
Just don't go there anymore. We don't talk about that. The groundwater's no good. Oh, fuck.
You just build really big trebuchets to just launch a bunch of dirt and just bury it.
Oh, no, that's how they get rid of the waste. They just trebuchet it into the caldera.
The ocean. You throw your nuclear car batteries into the ocean.
Yeah.
Love it.
I mean, we have a place like that, but for coal fire. It's
Yeah.
Centralia.
It's I was going to say it's the state of.
Denial?
No, there's a state in the U.S. which is basically on top of a coal fire, underground.
Oh, shit, right, the coal mine caught fire?
Yep.
Yeah.
That's
It's still burning.
Yeah.
so fucking scary.
And will burn forever, basically.
It's Pennsylvania.
Yeah.
Thank you.
I think that's where Centralia is, right?
There's
That's the
also
city.
gigantic
did not
salt
know that.
mines underneath, was it Detroit? Like, city-sized salt mines.
Yeah, the unseen geography of North America is pretty interesting.
Centralia mine fire, that's messed up.
That's what Silent Hill is based on.
Where does it get
Is
its
it?
oxygen from?
The
The intake.
yeah, I don't know.
There might be underground passages, like
Just be
natural
like,
passages.
wait, we figured this out. We brick up the entrance and then the ground caves in.
Sinkhole.
Like, there are tons of caves where we don't know where the water in them came
Yep.
from or where it goes.
And that's part of the problem with letting your nuclear spent fuel get into the groundwater.
Yeah.
Aaron brings up the emergency plan for if the Alberta oil sands catch fire, let it burn.
Leave.
Yeah, it's
Leave. I'm almost surprised that hasn't happened yet.
yeah,
Yeah,
yeah. Thank you very much.
keep going.
Ow! That's my hurt knuckle.
And you did it anyway.
So you want to know something fun here about what I'm doing with this? Is that so the general rule of thumb for saddle stitching
Don't
is
stitch your thumb.
yeah, don't stitch your thumb. Number one. Number two, for the amount of thread that you want to use, should be about 2.5 times the length of your of the run. I measured out 3 times, and I don't feel like I'm going to get past the halfway mark. Which is fine, because as we know, as we've talked about
What do you mean that time the Soviets used nukes to deal with oil well fires?
I think they did that, yeah.
What?
Because isn't like one of the ways to deal with an out of control fire is to set off an explosion?
Yeah, you snuff it out. That's what Wages of Fear and the remake Sorcerer is about,
Ah, okay.
which you should probably watch both of them. I don't know which one I like better. I should watch them both. Wages of Fear is, I want to say, in like Central America or something. This very poor village, an oil company comes in and they're like, we have an oil fire burning out of control and we need a truckload of nitroglycerin to blow it out. Volunteers?
And some biorobots.
It pays really well. It's seriously, so they get the shittiest trucks in the world to drive this sketchy load of nitroglycerin.
Chevy Tahoe?
Sure. Through really dangerous terrain.
Wow.
Yeah.
That's a hell of a thing.
In the remake that they did in the 70s, I think, they have some great scenes where they're actually transporting dynamite, but the guy goes to like check on it, and the shack is being there for like 40 years or something. That's super like just run down, and he goes inside and opens up a crate. And he's like, "When were these last rotated?" And he's like,
no.
"You're supposed to rotate them." He's like,
Yeah. That keeps the nitroglycerin inside.
and he reaches his hand down into one of the boxes and pulls it out very carefully, and it's wet.
Oh, no.
And he just like cradles his hand outside
Yup.
and flicks his hand, and it goes like a machine gun.
Fuck.
And he's like, you're on your own. Fuck.
What do you mean flicks his hand and it goes like a machine gun?
Alex, explain nitroglycerin.
The revolution with dynamite, or not dynamite, it was TNT with
Yeah,
dynamite?
TNT.
Let's try Halloween.
No, I think that might be different. I think it was just dynamite.
It might be just dynamite.
Yeah, no, it's dynamite. I know, because diatomaceous earth.
Ah, yes.
So, nitroglycerin is a high explosive.
That reacts with motion, right?
It's just highly sensitive. So, impact or spark, or it just goes off really easily. And this would be very useful to industry, but it's too sensitive. It's useless because like you can't transport it, you can't deploy it. It's
There's
just
no
not
amount of
controllable.
safety that you
That
can-
power is worthless. And what Dr. Nobel came up with was he stabilized.
Same person as the Nobel Prize, by the way, for
Yeah,
those not aware.
he stabilized nitroglycerin, I believe, by holding it in diatomaceous earth. So you had something that was very powerful and stable, which makes it useful. So you can use it for industry, or blowing up the Germans, or having the Germans blow you up.
Or just, like, not dying when you move it.
Yeah. The problem is with dynamite is that if it sits for too long, the nitroglycerin falls out of suspension and leaks out of the dynamite and pools. So you have to rotate the cases periodically to keep ahead of it leaking. Because otherwise, if it leaks and you like grabbed a case and pulled it,
You've just got raw nitroglycerin.
well, you wouldn't feel anything. You would just be erased from existence. Yeah, so it sweats and it's not good. So this guy dips his hand in, gets a handful of nitroglycerin, and like flicks it off, and the little droplets go off like gunshots.
They go to...
And then he probably got a wicked headache.
Yep, probably.
Oh man. Wasn't it the irony of Dr. Nobel is that he had to take nitroglycerin for his heart?
Wow.
If that's not ironic, I don't know what is.
I mean, like, having your life saved by that thing that you... Anyway.
It is 7 minutes to the hour.
Well, that sounds like a good time for us to start wrapping it up here.
Yeah, I mean, next time maybe we can talk about the difference between detonations and deflagrations.
It's always a pleasure having you on the show, Alex.
Oh, you're too kind.
Not at all.
Oh,
like-
well, then you're an asshole.
I like...
Got him!
Well, fuck you too.
Aw.
All
Fuck
right.
you, Baltimore! If you're an...
I'll just leave it up.
Well, you know what? Let's talk about what's coming up later this week on the Loading Ready Run Video Entertainment Network. Tomorrow, we begin the Modern Horizons pre-release. Join the crew and fabulous guests for a day of magic. We got Kenji and other people who I don't know about because I'm not in the community.
Brian David Marshall is here.
EDM, yep.
Brittany, I forget her last name.
Brittany.
Okay, you know what? I'm not going to do this either because I just realized I thought I remembered
Other
everyone's
people that are
names,
good
and I
are
don't.
of interest.
If you like Magic, you are going to enjoy this lineup because all of our lineup of Magic people are good, and I like them. I get to meet them, and they're great. After that is going to be on Saturday. Adam's Game House will return, and Adam will be playing, I don't know, Horizon Zero Dawn. Then it's
pretty good guess.
forward, at 2 p.m. when Ben is taking the hot seat, and he's going to be playing Plague Tale: Innocence. I got the feeling that's going to be a good one. Meanwhile, on Sunday, Heather and I will be returning to the virtual realm to play Wave Circles, and on Monday, it's back to Play It Forward, as we have, and then Dice Friends returns, but this time with Adam playing the Warlock of Firetop Mountain.
So to explain what's going on here is that After the Flood will continue.
Yes.
But it is on a brief break.
Yes.
Because people will not be available to play the game. And so Adam will be filling in to play a single-player fighting fantasy book, which essentially is an RPG that plays as you play through the book.
Like a Choose Your Own Adventure, but with dice.
Yeah.
Dice.
And Talking Simulator comes back on Tuesday for more Return of the Obra Dinn with Corey and Cameron. And then Let's Snope rounds out Tuesday at 5 p.m. and Kiss on Wednesday, and we're all back to Thursday again. I don't do the whole week. You can look this up yourself.
Yeah.
You know where? loadingreadyrun.com/live. You can check all of the great shows recorded and streamed at loadingreadyrun.com. You can also help us out at patreon.com/loadingreadyrun. It's where you can go to sign up for our Patreon and help us keep the lights on, send people to Magic Fest, which we will be doing when Magic Fest happens in Seattle later on. Magic Fest in Seattle will be happening.
In the
we'll be sending
future.
people there.
June 20th to 23rd. 6 people will be attending, and me.
And yeah,
Yes. I will be there to run the booth, and Graham, Ben, James, Cameron, Serge, and I think Adam. The 6 of them will be attending to play Magic. I will not be playing Magic. I will be doing whatever it is they keep promising that I'm doing, but I'll also be running the booth.
thank you, Peach. And finally, we'd like to thank those of you who chose to show your support to us today at patreon.com/loadingreadyrun. That's where we live right now. That's where our shows go, and then they go on YouTube later at youtube.com/loadingreadylive. The point is, you guys subscribe. We read your names. Thank you so much to those of you who subscribed, starting with Word Mogul, who's subscribed for 6 months. Thank you so much.
Orion Rise, 1 for 20 months.
That was an inhale. Nambra has been around for 29 months. Thank you.
Paper the Unicorn for 5 months.
Thanks to Banach Spacebar for 21 months of subs.
Andrew for 51 months.
Thank you, State of Comatose, for 11 months of streaming. That's almost a year.
SA Icon Jr. for 48 months. Welcome back.
Thank you to Shinji16 for 33 months. Get in the sub train.
Poor Shinji. Ice Light for 30 months. Welcome back.
Thank you, Buckminst, for your fuller 22 months.
Really?
Yeah.
Yeah, you had to.
Yep.
Northos for 48 months.
Calaveth has subscribed for 51 months. That's a number. Thank you. Big number.
Cotillion 1850 for 8 months. Welcome back.
Thank you to Anime Kitty for 15 months of subs.
Penultanoob for 36 months. Welcome back.
Muladia has been around for 7 months, and we're happy to have them.
Bogberry for 11 months.
Thank you, Roadhog 123 for 12 months of resubscription.
Talabu for 17 months.
Thanks to The File Clerk for 15 months.
Jacques EB for 7 months.
Muddy Thunder has been rolling for 11 months.
Inari Kitsune for 18 months. I feel like it's been longer than that, but hey.
Thank you, Himule, for 32 months of resub.
Dormus for 17 months. Welcome back.
And thank you to Wikisum for 15 months of resub.
The icy hand of death that comes for us all for 36 months. No, go away.
Thank you to Yoshikazu for 34 months of resub.
Caustic Acid for 53 months.
And thank you to Cheese Standalone for 18 months.
Yankee Mouse for 30 months.
Thank you, 539.
Take that again.
Zerg 539 for 29 months.
King Halt for 20 months.
It's Nikaro for 32 months.
And thank you for subscribing. Just whatever IDK and Tempest 2097 gifted by an anonymous gifter.
Thank you to T2 Zane for 61 months.
Oldman PJ gifted by an anonymous gifter.
Thanks to Pongo Sapiens for 63 months of resub.
And 1,625 bits from eBlog, Pharaohbender, Type 1, 2 men in a horse costume, Jelcamantis, Wafflezors, Punk Rock Zoologist, Avra the Accursed, Avad the Cursed, and Xanto69.
The bits, the bits, the bits. Well, that brings us to the end of our broadcast day here at Loading Ready Run. Thank you so much for your being here, either in the chat, chatting, or just lurking around. We appreciate you one way or another.
Remember, keep your powder dry.
And ever forward.
Never learning.